We are here to try to explain to you what it is we do here.
We are commodities brokers, William. Now, what are commodities? Commodities are agricultural products like coffee that you had for breakfast, wheat, which is used to make bread, pork bellies, which is used to make bacon, which you might find in a bacon and lettuce and tomato sandwich. And then there are other commodities like frozen orange juice and gold. Though, of course, gold doesn't grow on trees like oranges. Clear so far?
Yeah.
Good, William. Now, some of our clients are speculating that the price of gold will rise in the future, and we have other clients who are speculating that the price of gold is going to fall. They place their orders with us, and we buy or sell their gold for them.
Tell them the good part.
The good part, William, is that no matter whether our clients make money or lose money, Duke and Duke get the commissions.
Well, what do you think, Valentine?
Well, it sounds to me like you guys are a couple of bookies.
I told you he'd understand.
We are here.
All right. Hey, everybody. Ham's going to come on at 1 o'clock. I probably can't stay on very long after Ham, so I'm coming on a little early. I always talk about myself, and can't imagine that that's very interesting to anybody else. It's not that interesting to me. But anyway, I had an eye appointment this morning, and I can't see out of this eye, and they can't measure it. So I have to go in for some weird immersion, something. Sound, God, I don't know. But my operation is January 15th. I'm going to get a new lens. So I hope it works out. It's kind of scary. Let's see. Nothing really of note in the stocks, but I will say this RLAIF is 36 cents. I really don't think you're going to be able to buy it under 40, 50 cents for very much longer. There is some debate whether or not you should treat it as a trade or just hold on to it for, depending on how much you buy. And I'm basing it all on public information. Everything's public. I did a video Saturday night, and apparently because I played Funky Town, one of the worst MTV videos ever. It's just horrible. But apparently they that bit of art was important to protect the ownership of, so they took the video down. But I really think the trade to get into while it's inexpensive is RLAIF. And I went through the website and some of what they're doing. I'm going to try to talk to the CEO and maybe even have an interview with him. But I don't think it's going to be cheap very much longer. And depending on how much you have, and depending on whether or not a 10x is life-changing, it could be better than that. Let me think in my head what it could be. I'm having a hard time thinking. I guess it could be 50x. I guess it could be 50x over time. Not as so. It's the question: do you do a quick trade or do you wait? And the time frames I don't think are going to be that. I think it's a short-term time frame in the definition of the bond market. Anything under a year is short-term. But anyway, it could be life-changing. But it's a real company, real technology, fantastic partners when you see it on their website. So anyway, that's one thing there. I did talk about gold, and I want to go over that with you since that video's been taken down. I cannot emphasize how important it is for you to get into gold / silver / other assets like oil and gas, I guess platinum and palladium. But I'm reading one of Rickard's books. Here, I'll show it to you. The Big Drop: How to Grow Your Wealth During the Coming Collapse. I don't think you should rush out to buy it. It's a good book, but it's old, and it's not current information. I think he writes other books that are worth reading. But anyway, it's as good as any of his books to read. But it was written in 2000, and it was copyrighted in 2015. So it's like a lot of the stuff I tell you about, both from an oil and gas standpoint and monetarily, it's like everything shifted. You know, the urgency was there mid-decade, but now it's like a decade later, 6 years later, 5 years later, the opportunity glares. And so you have the choice of wondering, well, they must have been wrong. These are a lot of intelligent men and women making their predictions with years of experience. So the other alternatives, something happened to delay it. And my suggestion would be a couple of things. It might have been the cryptocurrencies might have delayed it. But I just think the United States really massively expanded the availability of dollars around the world, and we played our trump card. And I'm not trying to make a joke. All presidents, war. You know, it's our military going around in defense of our banks and our big pools of money, and I think it's delayed everything. The other possibility is that the cheap money under Bernanke and Yellen and the stupidity of the pools of money out of New York and elsewhere that directed trillions of dollars into drilling horizontal tight sands shale wells set off a bit of an illusion that got the whole world of Saudi Arabia and other parts of the world into producing oil more rapidly maybe than they should have. And cheap oil prices might be another reason why we've had more time. It'll be interesting to see if that supply of oil just slightly above demand every day is sustainable. I don't think it is. And I think there's an oil shock coming. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Let me see what you guys are saying. First to squeal gets the deal. Hey, Rico Inbound. I was listening to Junk Savvy's call this morning, and I'm going to put, I know this will probably look weird, but it's warm. It's warm, so apologize for it. I didn't put a coat on. The bricks in the window, there's no insulation behind me, apparently. What was I saying? Oh, Junk Savvy's call was great this morning, but I kept getting cut out. I couldn't hear. I don't know what was going on, but apparently Big JR, who you listened to the other day, and Curtis, I think, if I heard it correctly, went to Mar-a-Lago. And there was then a forum somewhere. I don't know. I don't think it was at Mar-a-Lago, but it might have been. There was a forum where questions were taken and presentations given, and it was a lot about MMTLP, which I just want to emphasize. When I use that to me describes the fraud perpetrated on all of us. MMTLP has no value. And if you own MMTLP, whether it's called NextBridge or MMTLP at your brokerage firm, if you own anything at your brokerage firm, it's worthless. You got to have the shares over at the transfer agent, Xfinity. But anyway, I'm gonna listen to her again. I don't think she comes on every day, but it was very impressive. And I think it shows that all you all who are working so hard, it's really making an impact. Hey, technology spastic. Technologically spastic. You should get unspastic and buy some RLAIF. Let them do the technology for you. Hey, Mitz, I can't pronounce that without mispronouncing. Mitsupop. Burn the boats, don't look back. Well, if you burn the boats, don't do it at sea. You need to be committed. I always use that joke. There's a joke that Norm Macdonald gets a lot of credit for that I used in a board meeting. And how did it go in that meeting? I said, the president said, well, we have all the board members here tonight for such and such. And I said, well, it's the board members, BORED. And I also make that joke all the time, the one you just made. Of course, when I said it, I wasn't hailed as a genius comedian. I was mostly ignored. It got a smile from the beautiful board member who is very intelligent. She got it. I don't know if anyone else got it. Hey, Chris. Peace. Snowball fights. Wow. That's kind of neat. Hey, Greg. Good times. All right. So what's this great movie? I know. Isn't that fun? Eddie Murphy. I love when he looks right at the camera. He was so good. All right. I'm going to read this article. And I'm going to do it this way instead of with the screen. Unless I can find it with the screen. I'm just going to do it this way because it's quicker. So Egon von Greiritz writes about gold. And for those of you who heard it Saturday night, I'll try not to be repetitive. But gold will rise by multiples. The case for gold is incontrovertible, as he calls it, as Eastern and Southern banks. In other words, what we used to describe as the Soviet Union and the Fourth World, the Third World and Fourth World, everybody except us, everybody except the United States, Canada, Australia, the UK, Europe, and Japan, and some expats down in the Pacific Islands. Everybody else is buying gold. The central banks are buying gold. We're not. As Eastern and Southern central banks substantially increase their gold holdings, Western central banks, ours, will most probably have little physical gold in their coffers. This was written at the end of November this year. The total global gold reserves allegedly held by central banks, equals 37,000 tons. And they're currently valued at 3.1 trillion US dollars. 3.1 trillion US dollars. That's based on a gold price of $2,700 an ounce. 3.1 trillion. Joe Biden forgave $1 trillion worth of student loans. The migrants coming in on our Medicare, their Medicare now, that's, I forget the amount exactly, but it runs to some number approaching $1 trillion that they're going to spend on the new people here in the country. Our debt goes up by $1 trillion every 90 days. So the entirety of global gold reserves held by central banks currently is worth $3 trillion. That's it. This value is absurd when one United States company, Microsoft, has the exact same valuation. Just think about it. Microsoft is as big, the market cap of Microsoft is as big as the gold, the value of the gold backing the entire global financial system. So what, is gold going to get cheaper? Western central banks probably have hypothecated and rehypothecated, which is a term that they use for lending and relending. I think it's just Xeroxing and stealing and mimeographing, and if you did it, you'd end up in jail. So in Egon von Greyertz's opinion, and he's been doing this a long time, Western central banks probably have lent and released and leased and released their gold several times over via bullion banks. And these are banks like JP Morgan, etc. The gold they've sold that way will never come back into the system. Therefore, central banks are heavily short gold and will be badly squeezed as the gold market becomes disorderly. The combination of East, that's Russia and China, Iran, and Southern, Brazil, South America, South Africa. Central, basically other world central bank gold buying, and all central banks, including our own, starting to replace their dollar reserves with gold. Not the United States, but Europe and others maybe. will lead to unprecedented demand for gold for many years. This isn't a short-term thing. This isn't, oh, the election of Donald Trump changed everything. This is going to go on for a decade and maybe longer, and it's going to change your life. You need to own gold. You need to own silver. That's not financial advice. I don't know you personally, but it's intellectual. I'm reading an article and I'm conveying this gentleman's opinion, which I share. More gold cannot satisfy this demand because current gold mine production annually is about 3,000 tons per year, and it cannot be increased. The substantial increase in gold demand can only be satisfied by much higher prices. The price of gold will rise in multiples. Well, there's a chart ruined by my printer or by my computer. But basically, I'll skip that. I won't show you the chart. I showed it to you Saturday night. But the chart shows that the relentless bull market in gold since 1971, and you're oblivious to it. Nobody talks about it. Gold has gone up 78x since the President of the United States made the conversion of the dollar into gold illegal or not possible. He said, nix on that. According to Egon, gold is now in the exponential price range. In other words, gold has gone up to $2,700 from $35 since 1971. And it's had some sharp rallies, strong rallies. But to Egon, you're going to see it go up like a rocket ship now. He gives the example, which I first learned when I went to a peak oil conference, and I can see his face. I can't remember his name. I had dinner with Dr. Martison, Chris Martison, and he gave this example. But if you sit in a stadium, a big football stadium or a city field, how long, the question is, would it take to fill up that stadium with water if you started with 1 drop of water a minute and then you doubled the number of drops every minute? So you start 1 minute, 1 drop, second minute, 2 drops, third minute, 4 drops, and so on. And this, I don't remember how long it took to get to its final exponential phase. But the point was, to get to 7% full took a long, long time. I'll try to look at it. I have Martison's book. Actually, they're in storage, but I can look it up. But the last movement, the movement from 7% to 100% full happens in 5 minutes. That's exponential. You don't have time to act. You don't have time to wait. That's exponential. So he believes we're in that phase now. He's been following and studying gold since and selling gold. I recommend his service in Switzerland, Egon von Greiritz, since the mid-1990s. He started his first job in Swiss banking in 1969, and he experienced firsthand Nixon's temporary action. Gold went up 24x between Nixon and Jimmy Carter, between Nixon and the beginning of Reagan. Gold went up 24x. Then there was a long correction in gold as Paul Volcker, appointed by Jimmy Carter, got inflation under control. So gold went into a correction from 1980 and bottomed out at $250 an ounce in 1999. Are you out of your mind? In the late 90s and the early 2000s, just to ring the bell, several Western central banks liquidated their gold holdings. The United Kingdom, Switzerland, Canada sold half of their gold holdings at the end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. Norway sold all of its gold. So the central banks at that time sold 10,000 tons of gold, and that was a sign of how incompetent they are. Financial markets would function much better without politicized bureaucrats. Natural forces of supply and demand are the best regulators on earth. I cannot, my eyesight is troubling, but this chart here's all the selling in gold, I think from the 90s onward. And here's where Obama came in or left. This is where Obama left. And Yellen came in. But it's the shift that central banks, 30 years of central bank gold demand, and you can see that central banks were net sellers in the green. And for the last 10 years, 15 years, central banks have been buyers, net buyers, and you can see how high it's going up at the very end of that time frame. All paper money has been destroyed by governments in history without exception. When governments ran gold and silver as money and other precious metals, they would dilute the coins like the Roman Empire. I've read, this is another part of his article that I read to you before. I'm just going to skip a couple pages. So here we are, 24 years into the 21st century, and gold is up 11x in US dollars in the first 20 years. And here's the chart of the gold price for the first 20 years of this decade. Between 2001 and 2011, gold rose 8x without a single down year. Then there was a 3-year correction from $1,920 to $1,046. I read where, and I've heard him say it, Jimmy Rogers says that in all bull markets, you can experience a 50% correction before it reaches wherever it's headed. So there's a 50% correction in the price of gold in the 3 years leading up to 2016. Since 2016, gold has gone up for 9 years. In the last 24 years, we have seen an incredibly strong bull market in gold. And no one's buying, no one's in it, at least in the West. Only 0.5% of global financial assets are invested in gold. Virtually nobody understands or invests in gold. And I've tried to present that concept to you a lot. He then gives a graph which is kind of small, but I can tell you what it says. Even when you can see it, I don't think it helps show you anything. But it shows that gold has gone from 0.2% of global assets in 2001, 0.2, to 0.5% today. So it's gone from 20% of 1% to 50% of 1%. Gold has vastly outperformed stocks in the 2000s so far. For the last 24 years, the Standard & Poor's 500, with dividends reinvested, has risen by 572%. This was written 3 weeks ago. Gold is up 990% in that same time frame. You don't hear about it from your advisors. Very few, not even professional investors, know that gold has gone up 1,000% this century. It's gone up 11x. Very few own gold, and even fewer are aware that gold fulfills the dual function of being both the ultimate protector and the ultimate enhancer of your wealth. If you own gold, you never have to worry about the price, because on your side stands the governments and central banks who will always support gold by creating an endless amount of new currency. They expand debt and they expand money supply. This guarantees the continuous debasement of fiat currency, and it's directly reflected in the price of gold. Since the year 2000, just that time frame, the United States dollar has lost 92% of its value in real terms vis-a-vis gold. I don't know how to show you a graph of that, but that's astonishing. Okay, then he gives you a cube of all the gold ever produced in the world and where it is today. I'll just read you the numbers. This is actually the chart of global gold stocks. In other words, inventory, I guess, resources, is estimated at 201,000 tons. And it represents $17 trillion. And it represents 0.6% of global wealth. And central banks allegedly hold 37,000 of the 201,000 tons, or 3.1 trillion. So he writes, only 201,000, let's just call it 200, only 200,000 tons of gold have ever been produced in history that we know about. All this gold is assumed to be still around. Just half of that amount has been used for jewelry. Only 43 tons, or 3.6 trillion, is in private investors' hands, private investment in gold. 3.6 trillion. If we compare that to the largest US companies, only Nvidia has a market cap of 3.5 trillion. So only Nvidia rivals the worldwide private investment in gold. Apple's a close second. So he gives a list of the top 10 US companies. Nvidia 3.5, Apple also 3.5, Microsoft 3.1, Amazon 2.1, Alphabet 2.0, Facebook 1.4, Tesla 1.1, Warren Buffett 1. I can't read that other one. Walmart, it's Broadcom and Walmart, both under $1 trillion. All of the gold held by central banks in reserve is just $3.1 trillion. 3.1 trillion. All of central bank reserve holdings of gold are equivalent to the market cap of Microsoft. Not even the largest US company, the third largest US company. Shareholders of Microsoft could swap their shareholdings against all of the central bank holdings of gold in the world. I doubt central bankers would sell their country's gold at the current price, but we shouldn't put it past them. The total market capitalization of the top 10 US companies that I just showed you the list is 19.2 trillion. The total market capitalization currently of the top 10 United States companies is $19 trillion. Today's price of gold, all the gold ever produced in history, is valued at $17 trillion. All of the gold ever produced in history, valued at today's price, is $2 trillion less in value than the combined value of the largest 10 United States stocks. Where do you think the price of gold's going to go? Are stocks going to keep going up? And gold keep going, staying down? When all the central bank gold in the world is valued at the same price as one major US company, we know that the pricing is an absurdity. The stock market is currently overvalued. here are the reasons Egon gives for the explosive move in gold ahead. War continues around the world. Inflation. Currencies are being devalued. The world will flee bonds, stocks, and the US dollar. BRICS countries buy more and more gold. Central banks are buying gold. And then ultimately investors will panic into gold to try to preserve their wealth. That's it. Das ist it. I think I just told you what Rickards wrote, but I might not have. I might have gotten off track. But what he wrote 9 years ago is that gold is behaving like money again. And what he means by that is that central banks are buying gold. They're replacing their reserves of dollars with gold. And that's what I've tried to get you guys to think, is that each of us has to become our own central bank. And we have to own gold. All right, that's my boring topic. And of course, you know that I think silver is gold on steroids. Well, I think I'm not going to talk about it in detail, but I do want you to heed one caution that I'm sensing. My read of the charts and my read of the timing might be optimistic in the sense that we're coming into the holidays. We're not there yet. But where I am, the office holidays have started. Work, so anyway. All I want to say is, it might still happen, and I certainly wouldn't bet against it. But I think that it's more likely that those charts could play out rather than in a short period like before the end of the year. Maybe it takes into the first part of the first quarter. It's not very long. I'm not being negative. I'm just saying I might have been overly optimistic on my truncated timing. There's allegedly a huge deposit of gold. Well, I showed it to you. There's a big deposit of gold in China, but I don't think it's been verified outside of China. And it's interesting, Winged Wolf, when you consider China, a couple things about China. One is they ostensibly own a lot of our debt. I'm not sure they actually do anymore, but we ask them to accept our dollars in return for their plastic products and pressed wood and cheapo crap, and some very good products. Their jetliners and their automobiles are going to rival ours very soon. But what countries do over time is, when they run up these huge debts like we are, they inflate the problem not away, downward so that the government can pay back the debt with cheaper dollars. And so there's a dynamic where sometime in the future, it's quite likely, and this is something else we've talked about, that gold will be repriced overnight. And early on, a year ago or so, I was using $10,000 from my memory of what Jim Rickards was predicting, but as high as 20,000 and 40,000 from others, particularly Dr. Stephen Lee. Well, now Rickards has done calculations that are as high as $27,000 gold in a repricing, and even 40,000. And I read those to you as I'm speaking. I can't remember which article or book they were in, but the concept that he uses with the highest number is if the reset based the system on gold backing 40% of the US dollar out in the money supply, you could see a price of $40,000 in gold. Well, looking at it the other way around, if you're China or other countries and you own US debt, that's a devaluation in the value of that debt by a massive amount, and it could happen overnight. So how do you help China out? You let them accumulate gold, you let them discover gold, you let them come to the table when that reset happens as the world's largest or second largest holder of gold. And I said it a year ago, many months ago, or longer. I think one of the reasons gold has been somewhat suppressed for a long time, China doesn't own enough yet. And I think we're in on that game. I think we're trying to help China own enough gold so they'll buy our debt, so they'll sell their goods to us in dollars. We buy with dollars that we print. So anyway, I think that's the dynamic that's continuing. And I see this large gold discovery that China made in that context. But the other thing is it takes years. That's deep in the ground. It's going to take capital commitments, and it'll take years to get the first gold out, but then it'll take years to produce that gold. And as the price of gold goes up, there's going to be a lot of gold coming into the market to sate the worldwide demand for gold. But I don't think you're going to see that affect prices now. I think you're going to see 10x in gold. And I think in silver, you could see 100x as conservative targets. By the way, that little gold company that not everybody, quite a few people invested in, it's more gold than that Chinese discovery. Potentially. There's still, they still got to prove it up. I know that I remember that day. I was reading about it, and but just so you know, Winged Wolf, I was a big skeptic in the whole gold. We had a couple of guys in our office that were gold bugs, and I had followed it for a long time, but it was getting crushed. And I was like, God, something's wrong here. But yeah, I remember that. It coincided a little bit, I think, with long-term capital management going out, but also with the collapse of the ruble. They were trying to keep oil prices suppressed, and to well, I had a girl born, you know, in Moscow. She's American now, but she was born in Moscow. But she pointed out to me that we were just trying to steal Russia's resources. Anyway, let's not get political. I just popped in to have another cup of coffee, friend. Just popped in to have another cup of coffee, friend. Well, you know, I can't tell you how wonderful it is, Bo, that you've come in with your fake name and that you're spreading such wonderful ideas and energy. It just tickles me that you're able to spend time out of your busy day joining us as we educate you. Not you, we get educated on your schemes to take money from us. But hey, you're welcome to be here. Run, you fools. All right, so I guess Bo is on record telling you to run from gold and silver. I'll just write it down. Bo Jangles on December 9th, 2024, because he cares for you, his advice: run, you fools. The stock that I am not going to talk about right now, but we did talk about a little bit, is $4.38. The stock I emphasized is RLAIF, Railtown AI Technologies. Last trade 37 cents 46. And then I discussed quite annoyingly, probably, my strong belief that we should all own gold miners. Let's just go with the gold price. Today, it is, as I look, it's $2,680.78. And let's get the price of silver. I knew a man, Bojangles, he sang a tune. He jumped so high. Oh, he jumped so high. Come on, Bojangles, dance. I'm trying to find the silver price. Today. Okay, so silver, COMEX futures, Silver is up a buck, unfortunately, for those of us who want to buy it. Silver is COMEX, $32.72. So I've written it down, Bojangles, and we'll see how it turns out. We'll see if I'm right or Bojangles is right. I think silver currently trades, well, we'll use those two numbers. Silver currently trades 32.72. Well, let's do it gold first. 2,680.78 divided by 32.72, 81.93. So 82, it takes, in the current markets, it takes 82 ounces of silver to be priced at 1 ounce of gold, 82. So let me write that down, 81.93. We'll use that also to test how concerned Bojangles is for your welfare. So if gold were to go to 27,000 and the ratio stayed the same, silver would trade for $330 an ounce. Well, Winged Wolf, how heavy are you? I'd like to own, my goal in my life was to own quite a bit more than my weight, although all I've accomplished is to put on weight. And not accumulate much silver so far. All right, we'll block him. We still have 20 minutes to go until Ham comes on. So let's see what's happening in Major League Baseball. Did any of you follow Juan Soto? I think I told you here, my prediction was 800 million, 16 years, Mets. Well, he didn't get 800 million, but he might still get it. He might still get it. And it's only 15 years. But all right, let's see. Mets to sign Juan Soto. Alex Bregman. Yeah, I won't bore you with baseball, but it's an entry. It's the hot stove. It's very interesting. And I wish I knew more about what happened with MMTLP. I think it's great that Curtis, Junk Savvy, Busy Brands, Big JR, and so many others have finally gotten a lot of purchase. Yeah, it's showing strength. The only slight adjustment, Mark, that I'm making is when I look at the calendar, and I'll look at it right now. I look at my calendar. Today is the 9th. So let's write that today off because we're already halfway through it. So we have one, two, three, 4 more trading days this week. And then we have 5 next week. So that's 9. That's good. But what I didn't take into account is Christmas falls on Wednesday. So you can say, and you'd be correct, that we have 2 further full trading days on the 23rd and the 24th. But I would submit to you that most people are going to take a long Christmas holiday starting on Friday the 20th or Thursday the 19th and going all the way through to as far as Monday the 6th. After looking at this calendar, I think there's a 2-week hole in my trading projections. The markets will be open, but I think most participants might be gone. So that's all I'm saying, Mark. I think I left the impression, which could still happen, because lots of times when trading desks are poorly populated, that's when you can get a lot of price action. But I just want to submit to you that this year they're going to celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday on the 20th. And I would just shift the time frame a little bit. I have no idea. I mean, as you know, I'm basing it on my analysis of a chart, which even this chart I keep showing you is out of date. So the thing about the buying stocks is they're volatile. The price changes. All right, let me see. No more news. All right, so 10 more minutes until, 12 more minutes until Ham comes on. One other thing happened over the weekend. Syria fell. And I don't know what it means. You guys probably have your thoughts. But I think it means that the United States is still intent on supporting Netanyahu to the hilt, spreading democracy like mayonnaise in Syria and Iran. And I think we're still trying to isolate Russia. I think we're playing with fire. All right, I've run out of ideas. Let me see what Mike Maloney is saying. Enormity squared. That's the page I opened it to, so let me read to you from Mike Maloney's The Great Gold and Silver Rush of the 21st Century, Chapter 7, Enormity Squared. In trying to think of an analogy for the performance of gold and silver in the 1970s, what comes to mind is a great asset race between stocks, real estate, gold, and silver. If all of those assets were horses, which one should you have bet on? Let's bet $1 on every asset, every horse, and do it at the lowest point of each in the decade. And then let's see what we would have collected when all four horses, all four assets, crossed the finish line January 1980. Gold began our race at $34.75 in January of 1970 and ran all the way to $873 an ounce, January 21, 1980. That was an astonishing payoff for gold of $25 for a $1 bet, 25 to 1 in that decade. Silver started at $1.27 and remained there for most of the decade before making its move late in 1979 during the home stretch of our great asset race. And man, did it take off. Silver literally left the field in its dust, hitting the finish line at $52.50. Every $1 bet paid a whopping $41.27 profit. A $100 bet would have returned more than $4,000. To give you a sense of perspective on how far ahead of the pack real estate came in as a distant third at 2.3x, but it still was up, even though it was a crappy decade. And stocks came in at 1.4x for the decade of the 70s. Do you see silver in the decade of the 70s? And then gold, then real estate, and then stocks. You guys don't remember that stocks don't always, for an entire decade, they barely did 1x, 1.4x. Everybody loves stocks right now, but in the 70s, stocks were like flogging a dead horse. I remember. I didn't start in the 70s, but I remember the attitude. The Dow bumped its head on 1,000 points in 1966, and the Dow did not break through until late 1982. I remember that day. Everyone went to, I think we went to Duke Zebert's. No, I think we were at Mel Krupin's, and everyone was toasting and cheering, and it took 16 years and 10 months for the Dow to decisively break through 1,000. For every dollar you bet in 1966, in 1982, you had $1. But when you adjust it for inflation, that dollar was only worth 24% of what you started with. So, or 27, sorry. So you could buy 27 cents worth of goods and services that you could buy in 1966. In 1970, at the beginning of the year, a single family home, brand new, the median price was $23,600. And gold was $35 an ounce. If you had sold a home then, you would have been able to buy 674 ounces of gold with the proceeds. By January 1980, the home that you sold almost tripled in price to $62,900. So you paid $23,600 for your house. A decade later, it was $62,900. Over the same period, your 674 ounces of gold rose 25 times from $23,600 to $588,000. You could have sold your gold at that point and purchased 9 houses and still had more money in the bank than the value of your original house, about the same amount. If you had bought silver instead of gold, your silver would buy 16 houses with double the value of your original house left in the bank. 17 times gain in real wealth in 8 years. That's all I have to say about silver. And I hope Ham calls in 4 minutes. Yeah, I remember Dow 2000 was a big deal. I love Jim Sinclair. He died, but I used to listen to Jim Sinclair, and I still listen to his big JR. That guy's name is, I can still see him. I have a bad memory. And he sold it. I wish he were still around. He was so smart. He was so smart. The guy that I think his name Bill, Bill. I'm sorry for my brain. I'll think about it. Let's look at some of these prices before Ham calls in. RLAIF, 36.48. And remember, Bojangles advise you to run, you fools. ZJYL's up 8 cents to 80 cents. Logic is showing us some life. It's up from a closing price of 0.0152, last trade 0.019, so it's almost up to 2 pennies. I don't see any news, but you never know when they run. Let's see GME up 23 cents to 29.29.99. Are you out of your mind? When are you going to realize he's not a good doctor? AMC down 7 cents to $4.65. I don't know why I have these on my list. DJT up $1, 35.77. Finger up a penny, $1.97.5. T-Low hits a new daily low, I guess. I'm positive on that stock. It's just an irresistible nickname. Down 54 cents. It's at $6, $5.97. Hey, Chris, how are you doing? We need to see solar panels on your boathouse. Otherwise, you're not a true American. RLAIF. I'm glad you're long, and I don't think you're wrong. He comes on at 1 o'clock. Cooper's human. Bill Holter, that's his name. Bill Holter. Do you see how bad I have a Joe Biden brain? Bill Holter's good. Oh, not at this pace. Yeah. Bill Holter. I still follow him. He's going to call in at 1 p.m. And since it's 1 p.m. right now, let me check to see if he's called me. He hasn't called. He hasn't called. My worst day. I don't know. I drives me crazy. Like Bill Holter. I used to remember things like that. You know? Yeah. All right, it's 1:01. I don't know if the hamster's going to call at 1. But anyway, let's go back to Chris. I like RLAIF. Of course, I like a couple of others too. I'm going to see if there's any new baseball signings. Uh-oh, Red Sox are interested in Anthony Santander. The Nationals are supposed to get him, but I guess we won't. Brewers, now they're going to trade prospects. I don't want to make fun of politicians. They're doing their best. Literally, that's what they're doing, their best. Mr. Rosenberg, how are you? Do you think the vulgar sexual remark to me by our Merrill Lynch broker, Rob Westmoreland, oh, wow. I don't know. If I had to guess, money, drinking, booze, drugs, and guilt all involved, the answer is probably yes. Stay long. Low volume. There is 250K. I don't know what IBB is. Let me think. IBB. I'm dim-witted. IBB, investor broker that is available. Can't think of what IBB is. So is that they can borrow. Institutional borrow. Anyway, yeah, I'm positive on it. Very positive. I just think it might shift. I'm just pointing out that there's a 2-week vacation period this year because the holidays are in the middle of the week. That's all I'm pointing The insurance CEO, I don't know what he did exactly, and I don't want to condone what was done, but I think people are very upset with the absolute ripoff that insurance is, and how much wealth goes to the very top in insurance, from hurricanes to healthcare. And so I don't think he has a lot of sympathy out there. What I heard he did was sell stock before bad news comes out. And that's a big no-no. Yeah, I think he, oh, the motive? Yeah, it could be. The motive could be. Yeah, definitely. Because that guy sold his shares. He knew what was coming. And it happens in all these stocks now. You know, it used to be when I first got in, nobody would do it. Now they're so audacious, they do it out in the open because they own Gary Gensler. They own him. Gary Gensler left his balls at the coat check when he took the job. That's why he sounds like a mouse. I think you're right, NSA. Oh, Interactive Broker, IBK. That says IBB. I would have figured out IBK. Ham's Goose. Wow. NSA. United Healthcare CEO set to testify against Pelosi insider trading. And I guess he couldn't hang himself on a low doorknob like that chef, or shoot himself twice in the head. I guess they call it Arkansas. Maybe they call it Francisco's side. Do you think it's possible all naked shorts and finger have been removed and forgiven? No, but I don't know how many there are for sure. And I think that the short position is under control in finger. However, Ham doesn't feel that way. Ham feels that they're in trouble and that it's just a handful of people, and that it could turn around very quickly at any time. I will tell you, Hans, that I watched on the website. I don't know. I've asked him, what is it? And he can't seem to remember. I don't remember the website, but I used to watch it every day, where FINRA would put the data of the right show selling. And I saw 100,000 shares sold in 10 days that were not borrowed and were not delivered. So I think it's a big position, but I think it's under control. And there's no other way to see it right now. Question is just how quickly can it get out of control again, and how quickly can that happen? My opinion on Finger is it's a $2 stock that can be worth 3 to 4 in the first quarter, which is a huge move. That's 100%. But I also think it has the potential, if the market can perceive one of its businesses as having revenue, cash flow, and earnings that are predictable, growing, and doing so for the foreseeable future, that's when you could get multiples of those numbers show up in the stock price. All right, I guess I'll call them. Let me just get the speaker on.
Battery 100%. Connected to Bill's iPhone.
All right, let me see. Oh, he did just call. He did just call.
Hello.
Hey, I was just calling you. I was waiting. We've been waiting, so I don't know how I missed your call. Sorry about that.
Just eating a pretzel, drinking a Coke, waiting for you.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. So anyway, everybody misses you. They're tired of my crap. So the floor is
let's
yours.
keep going. Welcome back from the weekend. A lot of college football, a lot of pro football. It's raining out. It's all good. Let's get going. First of all, MMTLP. Listen, everyone. I noticed a group. I see pictures. I saw Busy Brands, who I met. Great guy. All in Florida. I wish him the best. It's a tough fight. I don't understand the government for allowing this to go on this long. I'm with them. I believe that they hold the big key to the whole game. They break it open, everybody wins. So let's support them. Again, I'm not involved in it. I wish him the best. I don't know how to proceed with that in any shape or form. Again, but let's try to support them. They're good people, and they've all been locked in. I have friends that own it, and they're down a lot of money, and I got it. But support them. We'll try to figure something out, but I'm not paying attention to it as much because you can't trade it, you can't make money, and everybody here wants to make money. That's what it's all about. All right, so I'll just recap some of the shit that I follow. MLSS is making its way back. I was down 20%. Now I'm only down, at 90 cents, 10% now. So it's coming back. Again, this is a company that does epidurals. I find it a disgrace that everyone here has a wife, a mother, someone who has taken an epidural, and Wall Street doesn't give a shit about it. I'm here, and I'm just staying with it because fundamentally it's got to be good because everyone needs an epidural. What else am I following, William? DJT. Let's talk about that. The stock popped this morning, and I had no idea why. And I called around, and the stories come out of JP Morgan. They're actually hearing that Trump is going to say something about making the naked shorts a criminal activity. And I see all the brokerage stocks, except Goldman just turned back up. JP Morgan's down. So maybe there's something to it that he's going to come out and speak. I told you we've been hearing from the Devin Nunes camp, people that have ties to him, that something was coming up. I can't confirm it, but again, you have to be criminally insane to be short DJT. Again, I dealt with a ton of hedge funds, big guys that just bought Juan Soto type guys, big hedge funds. If there was something going on with a stock, the word would go through those firms, do not trade it. I don't give a shit how much money you think you can make. Stay away. The feds are investigating it or whatever it may be. They always say stay away. Whoever's playing a DJT has to be criminally insane or sure, something like that. But they're going to get them, all right? Because I can guarantee you Wall Street is basically backing away. I think you get day traders in here, these day trading firms, that they can naked short throughout the day, hoping the stock crashes, all that nonsense. But for the most part, Wall Street players are staying away from that stock. If they're doing anything, they're on the long side, not on the short side at all. The word is out on the street, something's coming down. Again, DJT has the President of the United States. Devin Nunes was the head of the Intel committee. You got Cash Patel. He's on the board of director, and he's the head of the FBI. And then you got Pam Bondi's the Attorney General of the United States, owning over 100,000 shares of stock. I don't know what else you can throw at the people, but they're definitely going to investigate it, and I can't believe that these people are staying here. I only hope that they start dragging them out through the streets on whoever they are, because whoever was is tied to that assassination attempt when they shorted all that stock before before he was the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. So they, Johnny Tobacco put it up, all the short sales before. I think it was 15 million shares they shorted because they thought they'd eventually kill him, but that didn't work. So again, DJT goes, we all go with him. The stocks that people want to push, the GameStop and the AMC crowd, again, I wish you luck on those things. Those are companies that are, as we say, long in the tooth. Is that what it's called, William? Long in the tooth?
Yeah, depending on your perspective. They made some real progress. FINRA's very existence might be at risk. So, but yeah, I mean, there's no way to trade it.
Oh, no, I'm talking about MMTLP you're talking about.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, listen, they deserve to be shut down. These people are running amok. And they keep getting fined. They never confirm, deny. Everybody's in there stealing, and they just get a fine. They pay their fines and just go about their business. These guys should be shut down. If you look at some of the FINRA fines, just to change the subject, some of these people have fines, and they've been in business 30 years, 40 years, and they have no compliance officer. They have no system. They always blame the system, or the system didn't pick up on the trick. I saw one recently. I forget what firm it was, where they had no names on the accounts. They were basically nameless people, and no one knew who they were. The number one rule is know your client, and they had no idea who they were. So they were doing something, laundering money, whatever they were doing, and it's just that they pay $1 million fine, and they go back to business, and it's no big deal, and they just change it up and they move along. So these brokers, the brokerage firms should be shut down and lose their license as they get caught doing these things. I say if anyone gets a fine over $500,000, they can't do business for a month. They can't do business for a month. Get fined again, you make it 5 months or 6 months. Do it like that. The whole firm gets shut down. That's what they need to do with these guys. And you watch how fast their systems work. How can Goldman Sachs have system problems? The company's worth, how big is Goldman Sachs market cap? What is it, $100 billion? I don't even know what the hell it is. How could they not have the money? They have all the money in the world. They can't fix a computer system to buy and sell a stock, mark a ticket. They have no idea. It's full of shit. They leave the system because they know what they can do. These guys all belong in jail. It's a disgrace that they keep doing it. And it comes to another holiday where people are suffering and they don't give a shit. And that's what the anger is with this character, Jeff Easton. He's shorting KNW, guys working on diabetes product. They don't even care. Just keep selling it. The stock raised all kinds of money, diluted their company already, and the stock's at a 52-week low. They lent money to a company called GMGI. It's 14 cents for making a new low in the 52 weeks. Their money is toxic. It's a waste of time. You can't take their money because they destroy your company. And I just happened to put it up, William, before you called. The money goes overseas to Mr. Hancock in Australia, and they brag about it, that they're up 220%. DOJ, FBI, SEC, anyone listening, just follow the money. It goes to Mr. Hancock. He's been probably looting with the help of Jeff Easton and his friends a long time now. They can't help themselves. They just keep looting, and it's like they don't give a shit about who's in their way, whose money they steal. And I keep trying to tell you that. These guys, if you're in the street, it's like these guys came up to you with a gun and your family and they're robbing you. Only they're doing it behind the computer. And they're doing it offshore, and they use every trick in the book to try to steal. I had a gentleman today ask me about the new SEC chairman, Atkins. And, I went through the whole thing with him, how he was a commissioner between 2002 and 2008. And I put up the video of Chairman Cox calling it fraudulent, naked short selling, manipulative trading, and they need new rules to stop this nonsense. Where was Atkins then? He was a man of the people. He was a commissioner. Were they stopping him? Well, why doesn't he come out and tell us? Hey, in 2006, I wanted to fight this, but this guy shot it down. This guy blocked it so that these firms can continue living and make a lot of money. Someone needs to speak up on the inside on this crime. It's not us. We keep fighting it. Until you understand, everyone, we're not going away. We know how to break them. It's not easy, but we know how to do it. It takes a little time. Obviously, it takes a lot of time. I've been doing this a long time, but companies have to cooperate. And I think Finger Motion is the perfect character, and they're doing everything possible. And the CEO told you that mid-December, they expect their audit to be complete and they can move the dividend down the path, down the road. Well, even today is December 9th. I don't know what mid-December is, all right, but it's got to be the 15th and a half. The 15th and a half is Sunday, is between Sunday and Monday. The 15th is Sunday, the 16th is Monday. So I guess it's sometime Sunday night, Monday morning, I guess. But that is mid-December. So hopefully the company gets it through. If it's another day or two, we can't hold them at fault. They have an auditor that's working on it. But we'll get that special dividend. Remember, people, I'll go through the dividend. It's going to be a 10% warrant. If you own 1,000 shares, you're going to get 100 shares. You own 10,000 shares, you're going to get 1,000 shares. You're going to get a free shot to be able to capitalize on a rise in the stock. Let's say the number's $3. I don't know what the warrant exercise price is. It'll be FNGRW. All right? And if you look at any option, what's the premium on a DJT call? So, when 2 weeks out, what's the premium on it? I don't even know. Let me look for a second. Let's take a look here. Let's look at the options for 2 weeks out. Let's say December 20th. Just 2 weeks out. The December 20th expiration date, the 38 calls, which is about what? 2 points away, 2.5 points away, they're $1.60. 2 weeks to go, and you're still $2 away, 2 plus. You break even at 38 plus $1.50. So it's $39.50 is your break even. So if you bought that option, that's where you break even. So the premium is pretty hefty. What would the Finger Motion warrant be worth for 2 years? I don't care if it's $1 away. 2 years. It's got to be 50 cents to $1.50, somewhere in there. If the stock goes to 100 minus, let's say, 3 is $97. So why would you sell that warrant? If you're more than welcome to do it. So let's say the warrant, which will be FNGRW, has a market, because it will be trading, of 50 cents to $1. Let's say it opens up 50 cents to $1. Would you sell your 1,000 or 100 free shares or warrants at 50 cents, right? What's the value? What do you get, 1,000 at 50 cents? You make $500 and you pay tax on it. Or 100 shares at $50 at 50 cents is $50. Is it worth it? Nah. I told you my friends will be buyers of those things because those are options that you have 2 years on. 2 years before they expire. Now let's look at it from the short side. I just gave us the positive side. So imagine if the thing goes to 100 and you own 1,000 shares. You got 10,000 shares, you get 1,000 for free. The stock goes, you can sell your stock. And all of a sudden you got 1,000 free warrants. Stock goes to 100, you sell it, you can make $97. That's the benefit, or that's the upside for the shareholder. There's no downside because you got it for free. But let's look at it from the short side now. The short seller, if they're short 230 million shares, 10% of that, they're going to be short 23 million shares with the snap of a finger overnight. The guy that's short 1.6 million, this idiot, he's going to be short, 160,000 shares. More. They don't get any money for it. They don't get any money for it. They're just short. And what does that mean? That means that if they're short, they have to put up margin money. So a position that they never intended to get into, now they have to support it with money. So just think about the support of this warrant. Forget the stock. Now we're talking about the warrant. You're going to be short 23 million shares. Your prime broker is going to come to you and say, hey, this is Jeffries. You're short 23 million warrants. They just traded at 50 cents. number one, 23 times 50, you're down $10 million. So you got to put up $10 million because that's a loss of $10 million right out of the gate. If it trades to the dollar, you're down $23 million. No prime broker is going to let you free ride that. You got to support that. Second, they're going to say you short 23 million shares. They're going to say, William, you know what, William? You're a good guy. You've been a client. But you want something, you got to put up $3 a share. You got to put up another 23 million times 3 for $69 million in margin money. $10 million loss or $20 million plus the $69 million in money. It's cost you $100 million. That's the damage of that warrant to the short sellers right out of the gate. Just by snapping your fingers. That is so deadly. And every time it moves up, remember, they don't make any money. They're taking this liability for free just for being around it. They don't get any sales. They don't get any money. Like they sell the stock, they'll sell it and get $2, right? If they sold it now at $2. But now they're just short and they get nothing. They have to put up a lot of money. So that is the beauty of this special warrant and dividend. What makes it different than past? It will be tradable. It's just put a wall between it, the Great Wall of China. One side is finger, one side is FNGRW. Each one of them will carry margin money, and each one of them will carry a loss. So right now they're profitable on the finger motion, all right? But there'll be a big hole on the other side. All right, so now they have to manage 2 positions out of that. All right, now let's think about, I just explained that, William. What about if we found a company that wants to do some sort of merger with Finger on a stock swap also? We're not going away. We're going to continue to torture these guys. All right, now we know we have the President of the United States and this company being attacked. We know Devin Nunes is leading this thing. We know all that stuff. But I never count on anybody. All right, even though I think that I don't think we could rig the game any better in our favor. We don't count on anybody. So we got that going. We got the warrant coming. And I have some friends that have a great idea, which I'm going to introduce to the company. All right, I sent the information to the shareholder. He's going to give it to the company. And then we'll see what happens there. All right, so we're going to bang, 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 and bang him in the head until I got big nail in that guy's head in Happy Gilmore at the golf course. That big guy, I forgot his name. It's the same thing. We're going to put a nail in the head and not going to stop. Okay, we're not sitting here. We're not like AMC talking about popcorn. We're not talking about roaring kitty. We're doing stuff. All right. Again, I'm tired of the nonsense. You know, these guys are just throwing shit out in the sky here and people buying stock. And you know what? I really don't care about it, but people can come to me asking me about it. Again, as far as those stocks are concerned, good luck. I could care less. You know, I go to the movies. I want to see GameStop work. But you know what? You guys are chasing something that, you know, it's a fundamental play. Is the company going to do something? Tell me what the company's going to do, and I'll make my decision then. Until then, it's just a stock that everybody keeps trying to push higher. Right? If any stock that deserves to go high, it's going to be DJT. Not GameStop, not AMC, not Finger. I don't care what it is. Tesla. Finger, DJT is number one. What happens after that is, you know, pick and choose whatever you like. So when Trump steps out and when he does hammer these guys, we're all going to benefit. All right? But again, I'm not chasing no $35 stock or $30 stock wherever they are now, unless they have real stuff to make it happen. And GameStop is building a business. They don't have a business. They have money. Again, money doesn't make it work all the time. We all know that. All right, there's plenty of companies that went bankrupt with plenty of money. So anyway, any questions on any of those things, William?
I haven't seen any questions that are.
Oh, good. I wanted to talk about XRP. A lot of people ask me that question
All right.
on that.
I knew they
I'll
were.
make it very simple. XRP is going to be the future of everything. Everything in the world is going through XRP, whatever it is. I'm not an expert on it, giving you my 2 cents on it. Again, people question me all weekend. All I hear about it. It was going to be on 60 Minutes. It's going to be great. And all weekend I said, how come this thing is going to be on 60 Minutes? Everyone's going to know about it. Very super positive. And it was like a big nothing. If it was so wonderful, how come Goldman Sachs is not buying every coin, whatever it is? This thing would be $10 already. And JP Morgan, these guys would kill their mothers to make a quarter. And yet, they're not buying it. I don't understand it. This is not Bitcoin at $50,000. This is something that's $2.50. Now, I'm sure if they got retail in here, and retail just keeps buying it worldwide because of this push, but who's dumping it? It just doesn't make sense to me. Again, it's just my opinion. That's how Wall Street is. I always found that if they didn't move, all right, on the news that everybody's looking for, being on 60 Minutes, being this, being that there's something that we don't understand. I just don't understand it. Maybe someone could say it. Why isn't it going? I don't know. Again, I don't own it. I'm just giving you my 2 cents, and you make your own decisions. The best way for me, if I had to tell anyone to do it, when the stock, when it ran to $3, I had about 6 people. I told them to sell half, hold on to half. If you believe it, hold on to half. You got a free ride on it. You got your money off the table. Can't get any better than that. If you think it's good, imagine if you held on to half of your Bitcoin, right? When Bitcoin ran to 10,000 or 20,000, whatever, and it got smacked back down, you sold it, you got it for free, and now it's 100,000. So, playing for free is no headaches. It's a great way to play. All right, so I addressed that. I addressed the GameStop, I addressed the AMC and the popcorn buckets and whatever. I made my donation. I went to the movies like everyone else. I support them. MMTLP, I support them 100%. I think they're a key to the whole game because they are not trading and people are demanding a share count. And I think it's going to come out. I think that someone's going to be held accountable there. And I think it's going to come out. New administration, new sheriff in town. Will this guy Atkins have anything to do with it? No, but I think it's going to come down to Trump. Hopefully these people have a lot of connections and get it to Trump. Matt Gaetz, there's a couple, Matt Gaetz, is that it? Matt Gaetz. He knows about it. There's a lot of people I know that signed that letter. So I think they could possibly, if they, there's a lot of shit going on in the world, but I think they can get that to the forefront, and I think it'll help them out. Any other things, William, you want to talk about?
What's your feeling on the rescue vehicle deal for Finger?
What's my feeling at it?
Yeah,
I think there's only one truck in all of China, and it drives around all the time.
Well, it hasn't shown up in the stock price yet.
Yes, you know what? The stock price is so interesting for people out here. I've seen stocks move up. Let's look at GameStop. GameStop has one thing: money. Calculate the money by the shares, and I think, William, we figured it out. It's like, what, $11, $12? Mm-hmm. Even if it's $15 in cash, the stock is trading at 30. On what business that stock is worth 30? I don't know. They don't have a business, and yet it shows up that it's actually going up. Why? That's because everyone believes there's a short, and the big funds are pushing it, and they're pushing the retail investor to keep going out there and buying it and being diamond hands. That's the thing. And you know what? The retail investors that are buying it are the same ones that bought it up to 80 and it crashed, and they bought it up to 30 last time and it crashed. And I'm telling you, be careful. Because if the shorts were really in trouble in that stock, go back and look at how it traded when the shorts were in trouble. The stock was gapping up 2, 3, 4 points at a clip, right? Every day it was going crazy. Do you see that anymore? I don't. Which tells me it's a slow moving whatever. And I think that people are just using it as a trading. The other longs, hedge funds are pushing it as, you got to go buy it, it's going to squeeze. These guys buy this, they buy the calls and they buy the stock, and then the retail pushes it. and they just sell the call, sell the stock, and drive it back down again. It's been up and down as a trading or as you know, for the longs. Listen, the longs are just as bad as the shorts sometimes, and the longs, I believe, are just manipulating the stock for their own benefit. You know, we all know back in the day that, you know, hey, this stock is, all you have to do is, you know, if someone hears something about it, we all jumped in and played it. If you guys don't know, back in the day, there was a company called Upjohn, a pharmaceutical company. It was rumored to take over Canada 9 zillion times. And you know, the stock was unchanged doing something, someone would hear something, and all of a sudden the stock would be at $3. It's going to be taken over the weekend. We all buy it, go up 4 or 5 points. Monday come, nothing, drift back down, and it just repeat, rinse, until one day it happened, maybe 5 years later. You know, so you just got to be careful, know what you're doing. Again, if you buy the dip, sell the rips, you could do well in those names. And finger motion hasn't showed up in the stock price. So for the gentleman or woman, whoever said that, I'll give you a hint. There's someone controlling the stock price. They're holding it down. Don't tell anybody I told you that, because that's what's going on. The company's been putting out tremendous news of deals and business they have in the biggest market in the world, and it never goes up. Think about that. It's interesting. Look at this KNW. They actually work on something for diabetes. They're bragging about it. But the stock will never go up because the shorts control it. How would you like to be that? Oh, they got a cure. They're working on diabetes. Stock doesn't go anywhere. CELU company. The CEO is he was an emergency room neurosurgeon. Works on infectious disease. I bet the guy, I told him don't take the toxic money. He took it. His company got killed. They reversed it back up to $8, and the stock is now $2.28. Again, going lower. Infectious disease. We all seem to need that, right? Who doesn't want that? CBM, same thing. They need money. What do? They kill it down. It's 57 cents. 57 cents. Working on head and neck cancer, and my good friend had that head and neck cancer. They cut out half his jaw and his tongue. That's how deadly that is, right? Northwest Bio, everyone's yelling about it. It's gonna be, you know, the treatment for brain cancer and all these other things that it got. It's got great, whatever. It's 28 cents. Not say $2.80, 28 cents. All right. So again, if you want to talk about stocks not moving, if you want the person that just said they go down to the SEC and ask them to settle the trades, pick any stock that you want that I just mentioned, and you'll see how the pattern will change immediately. You can see how the pattern's changing in DJT. It's now $36. If you're paying attention to me, and I was saying that $30 for 3 weeks straight, it wasn't moving, it wasn't going. Trump won, Trump won, his stock went down, and everybody's stock went up. Now it's 36. That's a quick $5, $6 it's up. All right. Soon the stock is going to gap. $40.50, I think I said, William, the other day. At that price, all 2 billion shares short are in the red. Now, I can't tell in DJT how much they have when they sell it and how much they buy back. So it's 2 billion shares short. And to play it safe, I say 1 billion. Because maybe they bought it back. I can't tell. It's trading, 20 million shares a day. I can't keep track of that. Finger motion is very easy to keep track of. It's fraud in slow motion. This morning, I posted that they were washing a lot of trades this morning, all in this area. They were washing the trades, and then all of a sudden it stops. Remember, longs can only sell the stock once. These guys are trying to move positions around. They're getting a call for delivery. And instead of delivering stock, what are they delivering? They're buying, selling, all in the same name again, and telling the person that they just covered the short, that they didn't get delivery, and we just bought stock from Merrill Lynch, and they just blame it and just show the paperwork that they did buy the stock, and they just move it from account A, B, C. And I could put up a schematic I think I have it here, of the Kramers, which were the naked short sells and a small stock GTII. And you can actually see these guys had with what's the name of that? Alpine, the brokerage firm, the prime broker. These guys have hundreds of LLCs. They move it from LLC 1 to LLC 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. They just keep, it's all they're doing is kiting a check. They're doing the same thing with stock settlement. So the SEC will tell you that they're forcing settlement, but they're not. They're just moving it around. All right, so this loophole has to be closed, and I believe it will. But they're just kiting checks. Everyone knows that. So if you have a credit card and you want to pay the other credit card, you use this credit card to pay that credit card until you finally blow up. That's what these guys are doing. That's what happened in Finger Motion today. Finger Motion, they're just moving shares back and forth. Isn't it funny that all the buyers and the sellers in the stock are always around $2, from 197 to 202, but we're all in the same spot. Everybody woke up every day for the last 4 months and said, let's all buy and sell stock in the same spot. Answer that one. That's a good one. It's impossible for that to happen. No one's selling it, so they do is create fake volume. And what do you mean by that? If you do a wash trade, all right, like washing your clothes, you can create fake volume. Fake volume, all of a sudden we trade 234,000 shares. More than the 90-day average traded all in the same spot today. And we still got 2 hours to go. I answer my phone all day. It's nobody I know sold one share. Matter of fact, I know people who bought stock that haven't sold one share. Yeah, it's in the same spot and hasn't traded in probably 50 minutes. And that's what I said. Any other questions, William?
Is Finger going to release a dividend?
No, to make them believe. It's on the video. Go watch the video. If you haven't seen the CEO and William's video, go to William's YouTube channel and the CEO, what did you do? 3 weeks ago, William? 2 weeks ago?
I can tell you, I have the ticket here.
Excuse me?
I went on the 18th of November, I think.
And so you did it almost less than a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the CEO said they're doing the dividend. And the only thing that's been holding it up, because we all had questions, what's holding it up? They're not going to do it. We all heard that every day when they call, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what the CEO say? We are doing the dividend. We had a problem with our auditor, and they had to audit 2 years of, or go back and do an audit on 2 years so that they can get up to speed with their finances and all that nonsense because the auditor changed. And as soon as it's cleared, they will be doing the dividend. That's straight from the CEO's mouth. We're not making it up. He said it. And it's in a video. It's, I don't know how to cut it out. If I knew how to cut that little segment out, I would cut it, post it for you, but I do not know how to do it. And I found the video yesterday on YouTube. On Twitter. And let me see if I can find it. Give me 1 second, William. Hang in there, William. Don't be yelling. Hold on a second. For some strange reason, I post so much. It's amazing. I got so much to say. But I'm going to play it for you as soon as I get it. Oh, I got some things I can talk. This is back in 2000. This guy wrote, I'm going to post it for you. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to play it in a second, William. Once it stops, I'm going to replay it again. This guy wrote it back in 2013. This man was begging people to buy $1 worth of Bitcoin. Hold on a second. See if I can get it up here. You ready? I'm going to play it for you. Ready, William? You there?
I'm here.
Here you go.
Suggest you take $1 freaking dollar. $1. Buy some Bitcoin. Put it on the goddamn wallet. Put it in a fucking way. Okay, sorry for swearing, but you know what? It's just $1. worth of Bitcoins. Just $1 freaking dollar. Because you're going to be thanking me for that $1.
That was in 2013. The gentleman, I'll repost it here. And I go, wow, was this guy early? FNGR, how did it work out, is what I said. Just think about what he said. I remember telling people to buy Apple when it was falling apart. It was like $20 back in, who knows, I can't remember how long ago it was. I've ever seen Amazon at $10. Companies need time to build out their businesses. And me and William both watch Finger Motion. We see they're working in the biggest market in the world, getting the biggest contracts in the world. And if you open up a bagel store, you need to go buy this. You got to go get the store. You have to gut it out. You have to buy the equipment. You have to find employees. You have to have people come to your store. You just don't open the door and your Apple computer and there's 1,000 people outside your door. It takes time for your businesses to grow. And if you guys want immediate action, I told you, go trade NVIDIA, go trade Tesla, up and down, knock yourself out. I'm not in the business of losing $50,000 on trades anymore. I don't think anybody here wants to do that. If you want to be a crazy gambler, I will be glad to help you out picking the craziest shit ever. You're either going to make or you're going to lose. What was that, MSTR, that Michael Saylor's company? You play that one. It's like playing Bitcoin. Up and down $30, $40 a clip. One day you're going to win, the next day you're going to get wiped out. I'm not in that business anymore. I used to be in that crazy business, but I don't want to do that anymore. It's unless you're a professional, professionals get killed in these things. I'm in the business of finding something now that I think I can make my family, make a lot of money with, and we just got to get past this naked short selling hump. And the company's doing everything in its power to shut down this naked short selling nonsense. And that's not counting on the president, the attorney general, the head of the FBI, or Devin Nunes, who's made 50 comments about the shorts. They're going after the short sellers. That's Devin Nunes. We're going to punish the short sellers. And his business is just starting out too. Truth Social. How many people go to Truth Social? I've never been to this site. And their business is just starting out. All right, so again, the stock is $35, $36. People like saying it's worth garbage, it's this, it's that. I don't know, but you gotta give it a chance. These small companies I talk about working on cures for diseases, you gotta give them a chance. It only helps all of us if it works. Why wouldn't you cheer for it? You can't own all of them. We're not doctors, I got it. I don't understand half this shit. But good Lord, who doesn't want to cure diabetes? Who doesn't want to save their ass from brain cancer or head and neck cancer or whatever the hell you have? The naked shorts don't care. They just want to keep stealing the money. The more hope that you have for a stock, they take advantage of it and just want to just kill it. Because they want the company to raise money. They want people to go back to them, all that stuff. That's all they want to do. You need money, William? You need money? We'll take care of it for you. Come to us. That's all we got. That's a Jeff Easton character. That's all they want to do. Oh, I'm sorry. What else we got? I think I answered the question, whatever the question was. Listen, it's like candid camera. When you least expect it, that's when it goes. If I just go back a little further, there's that company, Bright Minds Biosciences. The symbol is DRUG. The 52-week low is 93 cents. Clean your ears, everybody, 93 cents. It went to $79 in 2 days. That was a short squeeze. 93 cents to $78, $79. What happened to make it go? I don't know. But it didn't go up on fundamentals. That I can tell you. It just goes. They go when they go. Obviously, again, everyone clean your ears. The companies with the biggest problem take the longest. Look at MMTLP. You can't get any bigger problem there. They stopped trading. They caught the SEC. They got everyone lying, FINRA, everybody. And yet it hasn't cleaned out yet. Now, I can't fight with them on every day on MMTLP. There's no way to make money from it. So what the hell am I going to stand there? I'm not involved. That's the battle for those poor people in MMTLP. Right? But I do believe that whatever they do and get done, it's only going to benefit everyone else. So like, again, I support them. But in finger motion, I found this company 5 years ago, more than that, who knows how long. And the company was doing nothing. Had a big contract to do the top-up business. Since that point, now they're in big data. They're doing emergency vehicles. They do payment systems. They do text messaging, this, that, everything. All based in China. Now, what happens if they ever leave China and start doing business in other countries? I don't know. Let's just pick a country, William. What kind of country? Let's pick something in like, say, Indonesia, the 4th largest country in the world as far as population. Let's if they start doing something there, or Vietnam, or wherever it may be. They said they wanted to do other stuff in Southeast Asia. Should they get a chance to try to do it, or are we going to try to, or is Jeff Easton and his friends want to just knock it down before it gets to that point? If you were short the stock, I'd be doing everything in my power trying to knock it down because they're definitely fucked and they're going to jail. And the stock is telling me that they know they're fucked and they're going to jail. That's what the stock tells me. If they had any brains, they would take the stock to 5 and get people to bail out of it, because some people, like the gentleman who thinks that the stock isn't acting well, he'll sell it when it goes up. That's what they're looking for, people like him to sell it. But they can't let it go up, because once it goes past $2.25 to 1.6 million, he faints. Once it goes past 275 to 230 million faints. That's what they're facing here. So those are your numbers. Now those numbers, remember, go down every day. And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because I move it down very slowly. But 225 is going to be 220 soon. And 375 is going to be 370 soon. And I bring it down grudgingly and slowly. I give it 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month before I even move it down. They pay those fees every day. They have what's called a cost to carry. You can't be short a stock without paying fees to their prime broker. If they're borrowing shares, they got to pay fees. Everything costs money, and it's not a lot of money, but it's every day. It's just like a fucking. It's just like a what do you call it? A slug. What do you call it? What's the things that suck on your blood? What the hell is it called? A slug? I forget what it's called.
A Democrat?
A Democrat, right? It's like a Democrat. You get a Democrat on your neck, and then they suck your blood.
It's a leech.
A leech. There you go. Thank you. It's a Robin Leach. And they just keep taking and taking and taking. The brokerage firms don't like to lose. They need protection. They keep taking from you. So these guys are sitting here. They don't want to be in a long, drag-out fight. Jeff Easton likes to come in and slaughter you quickly and cover and convert at the lowest possible price. That's what they're doing to GMGI. They're going to keep driving it down, and then they'll call the company up and say, hey, you're supposed to give us back our money, or you're going to give us stock. And the company's going to say, well, we spent all the money, so we're going to give you stock. So the lower it goes, the more shares they get. Right? It's like the movie, The Producers. Right? So they want to sell 1,000% of a play and then make it be a flop. That's what they want to do. It's the same as the business model. KNW, everyone funded it. Everyone got free warrants, and all the investors sit here trying to buy the stock, and they just keep selling into it because Lynn Partners has the right, thanks to the company and the debt spiral financing note, they can convert this thing at a penny. Why wouldn't you sell all you can at 23 cents? Buy it back at a penny. That's what they do. And you can ask their buddy, SYTA, which is one of the companies that Limp Pond is basically raped. Go look at that one, everyone. William, the 52-week high on Sam, Yellow, Tom, Apple. What was it, William? Can you see it?
No, I didn't pull it up. SYLA?
SYTA. What was the 52-week on that one? I just can't seem to remember.
You're just being a jerk.
Yes, I am. It was $90, William.
99.
You know where it is today? 69 cents.
I'm just protecting you.
All right, they're just helping you out. That's look what they did to that company. The murdering of those shareholders in that stock. The company survives, and guess what the company's going to do? They're going to reverse the stock again, and they'll get more money from Lynn. And Lynn says it's not us selling it short. Remember that CEO told us the first thing when they're in Lynn Partner's office, we're not selling your stock short. And the CEO said, boy, that was strange. That's the first thing you say to us? We're not selling your stock short. And he goes, I didn't even say anything to them. I mean, they showed their cards. Everyone knows it's them. This is what they do. I can't believe the SEC hasn't caught them yet. As an unregistered toxic lender, that's the same nonsense. These guys belong in jail. If anyone follows the sell tickets, they're terrorists. Where does the money go? It's going to the guy in Australia. What's the guy's name? Hancock? Who knows what his ties are and who his buddies are, what they invest in? We don't know. You guys belong in jail. What else we got, William?
Is it worth buying finger February $3 calls?
It's so funny you said that. I played pickleball last night. A young guy overheard me speaking to a friend of mine. And he had the nerve to come up to me yesterday. I was playing, maybe 29 years old. He came over to me and he said, hey, I bought the March finger calls, the threes. And he goes, and I bought 1,000 shares of DJT at $32. And I said, what are you doing? I said, sell the DJT when it goes. And he would make $5,000. He was thanking me for that. Maybe he sold it today. I don't even know. But he owns the $3 calls for March. I never told him to buy it. He overheard me talking to someone else and he bought it. So again, I think this shit's gonna hit the fan soon, right? Soon, like real soon. I think once the dividend is, in the SEC's, radar and it's ready to go, then it's just a countdown. Because if you just go Google Pat Byrne short squeeze, and his final hurrah to the short sellers, the stock went from 3 to 128. How do I know about that? Well, I owned the 30 calls in Overstock at the time, and the SEC delayed it, and it went from 30 to $3, and I got wiped out. Then it went from 3 to 128 when the SEC approved their dividend. So I remember it very well. What else we got, Wade?
Will the price of the warrants go up with the stock price?
Well, listen, if the stock is 100 and the warrant is convertible at 3, what do you think the warrant would be trading at? What would be the value of a warrant if it's $3 option? My guess, if the stock is 100, the difference is 97. Then you add a little premium to it, so maybe it's trading at 100. Maybe it's trading at 99. So the answer to that would be yes.
Schwab has 197,000 shares of finger to borrow.
Yeah, they make it up. It's just unbelievable. No shares. The other day, today, they have 198,000. It's listen, no one's borrowing it. They're just moving it around.
What do you think of Kodak?
I'm surprised it hasn't moved yet. There's been stories about Kodak going around. It got up to 7, whatever it was. I told you my friends was 774. One, my big friend wanted to sell it at 8. I can't tell a big money manager what to do. That's his business. Everyone that I know that is a small player made $2 or $3 in it. They all moved to the sideline and sold. Kodak has over 1 billion shares short too. But I cut it in half because I don't watch it on a daily basis. I'll tell you what, again, all I know is that this MLSS, I paid $1 for it. I like the way it's flooring back, towards that dollar number. I think next time it goes to $1, I think it could really take off. Just watching it, I'm not, not recommending it. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing as a trader. I like the way it looks. I told you I bought that GBUX. I paid 75 cents. I hear it's going to be a big stock in 2025. And I only did 75 cents. So I'm just sitting there and looking forward to that. It's a fundamental play, nothing to do with shorts. I think the short game is coming to an end soon. I think that if you are looking to get involved in a short play, go do it now because I think it's coming to an end very shortly. I think there's going to be a lot of game-changing situations that are going to happen. And, I'd rather you, if you're going to do it, whatever stock you're going to play, get in now before it happens. Like that gentleman said to buy Bitcoin in 2000, whatever that year was, 2013. Get in before it happens. You do not want to get in when it starts running. That's when you get hurt. Whenever something's going sideways and not moving, that's when you get involved. That's how I look at those things. Anything else, William?
No.
Listen, it's a rainy day. I went to rehab. I did everything I had to do already. So whatever you have to say, let's go. William, you still with me?
I'm still here. I think you covered everything.
If you like, I can repeat it. I'm very good at that. And the one thing I would tell everybody, and I was always told this, speaking with a lot of enforcement people, I have given testimony to a lot of them. And I'm sure that, the people that I've spoken to, anytime they come with a question, my answer is always the same. It doesn't change. And they told me that, someone that always repeats the same thing is a good chance that, that I'm telling the truth. That's what they told me. Because they try to get you to trip up and say different things. What about this? When you said this, you said that. I said, I never said that. This is it. And if they go back and look at anything I said before, because I've had numerous meetings, it's always been the same. In finger motion, all roads lead back to the toxic naked short seller, which is Jeff Easton. Jeff Easton's pattern is very easy to see. We follow, K and W, his note is right on the tape. GMGI, same thing. You can go back and look at all the other dealings. He did deals with Savvy Management. That's Hal Mintz, who's got busted for naked short selling. He's the guy who has the condo on Fisher Island, I mean, all these things, the pattern is the same. And I'm sure the SEC knows all about who we are. And I'm sure everybody knows about us. And we're just going to wait until the gentleman becomes the new chairman, this guy Atkins, and he's at the DC. And we're going to put the truck in front of the SEC and see if he could see the truck. Because obviously Gensler and everybody else did nothing. And I can't wait for someone to call us in and say, well, you guys, well, we put it up there 1,000 times. If it was nothing there, why didn't you stop us? Right? And I just put up, and this, I really do feel, this is my opinion. Again, William, this is our opinion, my opinion. I don't know what your opinion is. I look at finger motion DJT is the greatest trade in history. I call this the Robin Hood trade. I just put it up. You're going to take from the rich and give to the poor. I really do believe that. And I think that that's what I see. That's what I believe. And I think that if you go back and look, if the shorts thought they can win, why don't they let the stock go up? What's the big deal if it goes to 205, 225, 240? You saw it, William. We went up to 240 on a Friday, 239. They closed it at 227. In seconds, they knocked it down from 239 to 227. Obviously, we were above their squeeze trigger number. And on Monday, the stock opened up. They pushed it down to 2. I don't know about you, but if I'm selling something, I always want more and not less. These idiots always want less, which is a clear sign that they're in trouble. And that's the sickest part of this whole thing, William, that we have people that are buffoons walking around as millionaires, laughing, stealing everybody's money and they don't give a flying shit. Buffoons. They're not intelligent. They're buffoons. They're just thugs, crooks. They all taught each other. And if the DOJ just grabs one, like they have Andrew Left, the short and distort king over there. He's given up Hindenburg. Hindenburg's given up this guy, and they got those guys in Canada. What was the name of the fund? The Anson Fund. The guy from Canaccord's involved, the president of Canaccord, the brokerage firm in Canaccord, which has been notorious naked short selling for a long time. The law is slow moving, but when they get these guys, they go into jail for a long time. You know, I don't understand how they never stopped. Why would you continue? You stole enough money, just disappear into the woodwork. But the guys that are here are the idiots who thought they were all going to become Warren Buffett. Oh, we're the biggest money manager in creation. This, that, and the other thing. Now they're going to go to jail for it. They should have packed up, ran away a long time. They think that it's never ending what they were going to do. What was the probability that these idiots, us, would get the president of the United States on our side? Right? They never thought that would change. They never thought we would stay around this long. They never thought the company was going to give out a special dividend. They never thought the company was going to keep growing. What was that stock, William, that you followed? KNIX or KINX? What's the symbol on that thing?
NIXX.
KIXX, right?
Nix.
KNIX?
No, it's like Nixon with 2 X's. NIXX.
Oh, I kept putting K. It's $4.50, and they announced they were going to raise money, right?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
And now the stocks are going up and you're raising money? What's next? Like I said the other day, cats are sleeping with dogs? What's going on here? All of a sudden, companies raising money and it's going up? Finger motion is not raising money, it's going down. What's going on here? It's the strange things are going on for sure. And DJT, trading up to 36.18 today. The average volume is 30 million a day. It's traded 9. So the shorts look like they're getting a little tired of trying to hold it down here. I don't know if they can, but remember, $40.50, right around that number. Every share they're short is in the red. I just want people to understand that number. Back in time in 2020, on February 2020, when I was writing reports on GameStop, out of 10,000 stocks out there, I picked GameStop. I didn't pick it because I just thought people were talking about it. I could care less about games and anything like that. I followed short selling, naked short selling in particular, and I did all the short squeeze numbers on GameStop going back and looking at the highs, the lows, and the stock over the past before, when it was a good company. And I said the average short squeeze trigger on that stock was somewhere in like $20, something 21, 22, something like that. So when it was $3.75, the shorts were in the black, all the way up to $20. I'll make it 20. So they had $16 profit in their pocket in GameStop. 16. Once it went through and they went from being in the black into the red, after it passed 20, the stock took off and then it went to 500. $16 in the red. Finger motion, they're in the red. What? 25 cents from here? 25 cents. And then the big number is what? $1.25 away, whatever the hell it is. $3.75, $1.75 away, going lower. Covering the 1.6 million with no selling once they stop. 1.6 million to make the stock somewhere between 10 and 20 bucks. Just the 1.6 million. Imagine when they begin to 230 million to go. Imagine when they start covering the 1.6 million. Do you think that just they're going to be buying 1.6 million? No one else is going to run in front of them? My friends specialize in front running. You can see it, you can hear it. It's very easy to see when they start, and everybody runs in front of it. Hey, go buy 10,000. I can see a big buyer in there. You take it from 3 to 4. All of a sudden, you say that buy is still here. Buy another 10,000 up to 5. Buy another 10,000 up to 8. And they push it on the short. They all run in front of it. So if you think that you're going to sit there and you're going to sell 50,000 shares because you're going to get out at 8, and you think that you're a hero and it's going to stop it, Wall Street will come in and just scoop it all up and force it higher, as you can see, like they do in GameStop. They force it up and then they sell it. That's how they do it. What else you got, William? Anything?
No.
I'm just trying to help out. Any questions? I'm giving you everything I have. I told you the lady dousing with gasoline the other day. I told you that story. This is a good story, William. I'll just change the subject for a second. I went to the gym and I had, I ride the bike all the time to loosen up my new knee replacement, which there was actually an animated surgery on Twitter. So it's all animated. There's no blood, guts, or anything like that. And it shows how it works, and they install these metal pieces. And the woman next to me said, she saw me adjusting the seat. She goes, what did you do? And I said, I'm working on my knee. And she had to be around 55 years old. And she goes, my mom had both her knees done. And I forget how old she was. I was like, I go, how'd she do with the rehab? She goes, she did great. And I'm looking at it, my face, jaw dropped. I'm like, no pain? No, she got right through it. She was much older. I said, holy shit, I go home and I cry about this thing. This woman went through it at 85 or 90, whatever how old she was. I said, holy shit, what a baby I am. So I vowed to my family I would never talk about it. Because I guess if that woman didn't complain, what the hell am I complaining about? So I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, what else? GDC, ZJYL, as soon as I hear something, I will let everybody know. I told you, I think ZJYL is interesting. I like it because all they did was a forward split. I think that the shareholders that owned it before, when it was $300, I don't think they ever got out of it. As a trader, I just keep scanning the stocks that I follow and try to memorize, where they're at. I hit MLSS up, for example, still 90, 91 cents. All of a sudden, the all those attacks by the big cells have seemed to slow down a little bit. GDC, it's been laying around this 250 area. I told you when it went down and it squeezed up, sell it. That was the easy trade. The hard trade is the second dip. When you try to go back and play for the second time, that's the hard part. ZJYL, I always thought GDC would go first, on ZJL would go next, but nothing's happening right now. I think the stock will do something to bounce back over $1. And you say, what makes you think that? Because GDC did the exact same thing, William, right?
Mhm.
It broke below $1, and then all of a sudden it turned around and it screamed back up to 12. Will it happen? I don't know. I'm watching it. If I see it, I'll talk about it. GameStop, they had it up to 29, whatever, 29.86, and they have it down on the day now. It looks to me that longs are just, what is it, like a pyramid scheme? Is that the word? That's the word I'm looking for. I buy it, I tell William buys it, tells his cousin, and once we stop buying it, the stock looks like it just melts back down. And to me, that's a sign of a stock that doesn't have that big short sex appeal in it anymore. Because when this stock used to go up $1, it'd run $2 or $3. It doesn't do that anymore. I'm not saying there's no short there, so don't send all the crazy people after me. Right? I just think that if you buy the dip, you can sell the rip. So if you're buying your GameStop, you want to trade it, $29, it was up on the day, it's here. Unchanged on the day, take a shot. Maybe here you buy a little 29, 28.70, and try to buy it down. If it runs back up, you flip it. And then you can go buy cheap calls. That's all, if you want to still play it. No selling in DJT, basically 9 million shares. It's been here for an hour. We've been on the phone for an hour. It's been the same spot. A small stock I just told you I purchased today at 75 cents. It's 1,000 by 2,600, 79 to 85 on 3,400. Told you I heard it's going to be the big stock in 2025. What's going to happen? I heard they're going to get a deal with $1 trillion company. You can figure out what the rumor of the name is going around on that one. It's coming from a guy at Goldman Sachs. That's all I know. I don't have access to the guy at Goldman Sachs. But that's the story there. So I took a shot and I bought 10,000 at 75 cents. Listen, you don't have, again, as far as buying any names that we talk about, you don't have to buy a zillion shares of everything. Take a shot. You buy 100 shares that you want to play. Buy 500 shares. You don't have to buy a zillion of them. I can't afford to buy a zillion of everything. I buy small positions in all the things that I like to follow. When you got stocks that you follow and you get on the call here, feel free, tell us what it is. Let us look at it. We don't know the name. Something catches us to us I like to buy things that are up and coming and new. I don't need to be told how to buy NVIDIA. I don't need to be told how to buy Apple, IBM. I don't really care. Costco, all those names. If I was working on a trading desk, then I'd be playing those type of names because they're up and down, all over the place every day. I do think the brokerage firms are short. All the brokerage firms had big runs on the President Trump's election. The only thing that hasn't had the big runs are the short squeeze names. And I think once those things happen, the brokerage firms are going to start taking hits because guys are going to, as we say on Wall Street, they're going to decay, meaning that they're going to walk away and leave the losses with the brokerage firms, in which case they're going to be stuck. Their prime brokers are going to be stuck. And William, I have to tell you this. If I was a prime broker or a risk management guy on the short side, I would be awful at it because I just don't have the stomach for it. I'm not a short seller. So the people that are the risk management at the Jefferies and this one or Goldman, wherever it is, these guys are probably people that in the past have been short sellers because you have to have a real good stomach to stay short. Like if you're short DJT, let's say Jefferies is short DJT for a client and they're helping finance it, lending them money, that, they stay tall because, they know these guys are going to keep playing. But once the laws change, these guys take a beating. And they do take beatings. So again, it's a tough, I would basically, like a finger motion, if I hear they're issuing a dividend, I'm going to be advising my short selling guys, hey, if you're short 1 million shares, I want you to cut it back. I want you to buy back 250,000 shares. I want to let you stay short 750. If the stock moves up a little bit, I'm going to say, hey, cut it in half, make it 500. That's how I am, because I like to think ahead. These guys don't think like that at all. They just, they know the rules have been slanted in their favor. And we always said the same thing. How do these guys not cover? Are they crazy? Well, because they know the deck's been, stacked in their favor. But that's going to change. So I think that shit's going to hit the fan shortly, and these things are going to take off. Anything else, William?
No. Just
Nothing else.
nothing else.
All right, then I'll leave it at that, and I'll go about my day, and I'll keep an eye on things. If I see something good, I'll relay it. But William, go take a break. You've been on for over an hour. If there's nothing to speak about, then go take a break, and we'll pick up at another time.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right, speak to you later.
Cheers.
You got it.
Call ended.
Wash trading is if you buy a stock. Well, better is reverse. If you sell a stock to take a loss and then you buy it within 30 days, you can't take that loss. So I don't know how to give you an example, but if you bought 1,000 shares of DJT at $40 and you sold it at 27 to lock in your loss, and now that the stock's going back up, you bought back 1,000 shares within a 30-day period, you can't take the original loss. That's a wash sale. Nano Dimension stock. I've never heard of it, but I'll try. I'm glad to talk about it at some points. Are prime brokers? Yes, they are. They're all complicit. They're all enabling it. Your shares are digital. So whether they're real or fake, the system doesn't recognize it. So when a toxic convertible note is signed, Benchmark feeds the CEO to Jeff Easton. He calls his 4 hedge funds. They start selling the stock because they know the note's going to be signed. They give that money to the company. The note's signed. The lawyers lie about it. They get the prime brokers to say, okay, you can sell that stock. The stock goes through the broker dealer. You put up cash to buy stock. The broker dealer is supposed to, it's their responsibility to know that trade settles. The trades never settle. You have LLCs set up and they move the trades around, so they hide it, and it just goes on and on. It's a ring around the rosy. But we just endlessly talk about it. No one cares. No one cares. Absolutely no one cares about it. I don't know if there's a wall there. I just think that people can only buy so much. There's going to be an ebb and flow. That's roughly a double, 80%. Things don't go straight up. But I love it, but I just don't want to talk about it. No funky town. All right. Let's go through these one by one. I think you have that ratio backwards. I think they issued 1/3 of our shares, and they still owe us 2/3 approximately. I don't know how much flexibility collective audience has in issuing those shares. My guess is, and I'll see if I can find out, they could issue them and leave them free to trade, and every single person that receives them will sell the stock, and then the stock just goes down. But they will have issued them, and we can say, hey, they issued the shares, and it feels great. I got my stock. It's trading at 45 cents. They're going to issue a big slug of shares. Everyone will sell. The stock will go to 10 cents, but at least I know I have my shares. That's one approach. The other approach is, you know what? Let's not issue these right away. Let's wait till the news comes. We're under attack. Let's wait till the news is better. And, everybody can have their own opinion. My opinion is he should not lift the restriction off our shares. He should leave the restriction there until the stock is trading on its own fundamentals, $2, $5, $10, and I'm willing to wait. But if you think the best thing for the company would be to issue those shares now, make them free to trade just so that you knew that the company's done it, maybe that's a better strategy. And I'll put that into the company that there's interest in getting, and I'll ask, I don't have that much of a pipeline to the company, but I'll say, hey, my people would like their shares to trade. I know the stock's 45 cents, but they would feel better to get the trading restriction off of their shares now. They understand you can do it later, but they want it now because they're tired of waiting. It's been well over a year. And as soon as they get their shares, they promise they're not going to sell them. And they understand you can't issue the shares just to them. You have to give it to everyone. And they're pretty sure no one else will sell. So they're willing to take the risk, and they won't blame you. The bid is 32 cents. Issue the shares. They won't sell, and they're really confident no one else will sell. And it's, in their opinion, it's not likely that by removing the restriction on trading those shares, that you as the CEO are going to have a tough time operating your company with a flood of stock coming in, and it won't go back down to 13 cents. Don't worry about it. It's their best advice to you as CEO. There's counterfeiting in your stock. Aubrey Advisors stole money from you, in my judgment, and set you up. And the stock, which was trading at $11, is now bidding 32 cents. My clients want you to take the restriction off of the 2/3 of the stock they didn't get, because in their judgment, the best strategy to make the stock price go up is to suddenly have a bunch of stock available for sale, real stock available for sale from clients that are disgusted with it. And on top of that, they want you to do it tax loss selling season. So please speed up taking the restriction off the remaining shares of collective audience. I'll put that into the CEO, and I hope he doesn't think I've lost my mind. WDHI is a distribution from what used to be called Houston Natural Resources. That company was a collection of different items. As far as I know, they were doing it at $5 a share. The SEC has to approve these things. It's now been almost 2 years, I think, a year and a half. I don't know the status with the SEC. The CEO does not respond to my attempts to contact him. I'll try again. I would give you the same general response. If you think it's the best strategy to bring that company out while the overall company is under ongoing selling pressure, I'll put it through. I'll ask him why he doesn't just do what he says I'll let him know. We would rather get our stock at 10 cents a share than 50 cents a share. We want to have our shares publicly traded so the shorts can destroy it. We want to do it before worldwide diversified holdings is ready to support their own price in the aftermarket. We would much rather get our shares while the stock is not ready to go, while any deals they have in place are still pending. We want our shares now because we want to race with the criminals to sell our stock downward. And our guys believe that they could be the first ones out the door, and $5 a share be damned. We'd rather have liquid shares so that we know you're telling us the truth, and we don't care if we have to sell it at 5 cents. At least you as CEO honored your commitment to us to distribute your shares. So it's in my best judgment. I'm forgetting his name right now. I can hear his voice. I just can't remember his name. My best judgment to keep your credibility, the best idea, issue the shares before the company can stand on its own. At least explain to us why the SEC hasn't done it. But please make those shares free to trade. I'd rather get 5 cents a share, 2 cents a share than your dream of getting $5. I just want to know that you've kept your word. I forget his name right now. Frank Kristen. I'll get to him. I don't think he'll answer, but I'll get to him, and I'll recommend that he makes those shares free to trade, regardless of his plans, regardless of the status of acquisitions or the underlying company. I don't think I'll get very far because, back to my memory, I think he owns, either he does or we do through the company, he owns something like 20 or 40% of WDHI. So I think as a financial engineer, he's going to try to do something to make sure those shares are valuable, even if he risks the ire of his shareholders who say, why haven't I gotten my shares yet? But I'll ask him to issue them. On the gold company, that I gave a long explanation. In approximately 15 years ago, a guy who is a metallurgist and has studied nano gold, who founded a company, a gold company, built it up and sold it for a huge profit, he studied North America. He found 2 nano gold deposits, one in Arizona above ground and one in Nevada, as an analog to the Carlin trend. A group of investors, including himself, put up money to acquire it, and they invested money over time in this company. As I understand it, by memory, something like 70 or 90 million dollars, something almost $100 million. They moved forward. They built the plant. Gold was high. It went into a correction, and basically they designed a recovery system. I'm not a chemist, but I do remember, I think the word in chemistry is valences. I could be wrong, but every element has positive or negative properties. The ground itself throws off a negative or a positive charge. Steel and metal, when you put it to the ground, throws that off. So they went forward, they built all that out, and the process they developed worked. It's chemistry though. And the charges, it turned out, when they scaled it up, screwed it all up. These are invisible gold. Gravity doesn't work. And so as they concentrated it in solution, these charges interfered with the chemistry. The company did already go back to the drawing board using physics, as he says, no chemistry, just simply using physics, using mostly off-the-shelf strategies, have now designed a recovery process that is exempt from those charges. And it is based, I can't say anymore because I signed an NDA, but it's based on hundreds of tests. And he's getting, instead of the standard fire assay of 0.04 ounces of gold recovered, he's getting recovery of 0.2 ounces of gold. The only thing he needs left to do, he has to go in and rebuild the pilot plant, which was damaged by an earthquake. He also has to scale that plant to size so he can process, I think the number was 36,000 tons a day. He needed to raise $5 million. In fact, the company to date has received over, I don't know how much over $1.3 million. That $1 million has all the $1.3 million, I don't know what it is. I think it's 1,325,000 with potentially a little bit more that I don't know about. But somewhere around $1.3 million has been raised. Most of that money is still sitting in cash, but a lot of the money has been used to upgrade the plant and refurbish the plant, but to order the equipment to start the pilot plant. The plant is moving forward, and it is moving forward at a pace. An investor who I found agreed to put up $5 million, and that $5 million was committed to approximately I'm not positive. I would say approximately 90 days, but it could be more than that ago. It is 100% his intention to put that money in this investment. He is not interested in Bitcoin. He already owns some. He's not interested in XRP. Unless you have another idea you want to suggest to him, I'll be glad to suggest it to him. But as it stands right now, the only delay is the institution who has to distribute the money. It's a daily process, daily phone calls, daily assurances, and it just hasn't happened yet. I expect it to occur this week, but I would have told you that 2 weeks ago. I would have told you that a month ago. I just don't know when. It's out of my investors' control. It's out of my control. It's in the control of his financial institution. I see no reason why it's not going to happen. And no, unless you want to throw other ideas out there for him to consider, like Bitcoin or XRP, he intends to follow through immediately on his commitment to this company. Why would he do that? Give XRP is what, $3? Where do you think it's going to go? 100x? Okay, it'll go 100x, $3,000. When? Without risk? Bitcoin, where do you think it's going to go? 1 million? All right, so it's going to go 10x. This company, which it is taking time to get the money in, there's no question about that. No question. That's life, I've found. But the company is moving forward because of the monies already raised, something between 1.3 million and 1.4 million. The pilot plant is underway. Part of the use of proceeds was other things anyway, but it's underway. Using the amount of resources that were proven 12 years ago, 10 years ago, of 174 million tons, and using the standard fire assay, caustic fusion fire assay method, there's 6 to 7 million ounces of gold. That can be doubled just by drilling down 200 feet to 12 million ounces of gold, and it likely can be doubled or tripled from there just drilling in between and outward using that standard assay. Goldstrike up the highway collects, receives 0.03 ounces of gold per ton of its Carlin Trend sand using large autoclaves. At gold at $2,700 a ton, even that low recovery of 0.04 becomes attractive as a feedstock to the massive gold producing facility at Goldstrike, owned by Newmont Mining and owned by Barrick Gold together. However, the largest single shareholder of this company, who's already invested a huge amount of money and time himself and funded the last 4 years of testing to the tune of over $1 million out of his own pocket. He has a process that works. He can scale from 0.04 to 0.20 or better. Now, using the 174 million tons of resource, third-party assay, third-party overseen, viewed, he can prove up, just in that 2 zones, he can prove up 35 million ounces of gold by running it through the pilot plant. Now, if he goes down with the use of proceeds and drills down to 400 feet or 600 feet, let's just say 400, he can double that to 70 million ounces of gold. 70 million ounces of gold. If he drills in between and outward, he can expand that to 200 million ounces of gold. So let's just go with that massive upside number. And there's still risk. The whole reason you have to build out the pilot plant is so that you can weigh the gold, prove it to people that it works. But let's go to the entirely reasonable. This is a sand resource, just like the Carlin Trend. It's trapped in a large caldera. It's been baking over eons in the desert sun. The earthquake shook the ground, because there's brine down below that has gold in it as well. But it shook the ground so that it's evident But does Wall Street believe it? That's the point of drilling deeper and the pilot plant. But it's evident to these gentlemen that the sand is, blanket's the wrong word. That's an oil and gas term. But the sand not only goes down to 200 feet, it goes down to 400 feet. It may go longer, but it's everywhere, everywhere. They only have 2 zones that the third party processed. They can drill in between and outward and downward. So let's just go to the extreme of positivity. That's 200 million ounces of gold recoverable. 200 million ounces of gold recoverable. Let's cut right to the chase on that. And of course, my calculator won't work. So let me use a different calculator. Okay, so 200 million ounces of gold. And I'm admitting to you, I'm going to the massive pink glasses, rose-colored glasses, the massive upside. But there's no reason why it's not true. The Carlin trend started out with its local success and then expanded as wherever the sand was. So 200 million ounces. The reason I'm doing the high end is to explain to you why my investor, but more importantly, why the company will not get distracted. 200 million ounces of gold potentially recoverable. Divided by, it'll be less than this, but divided by 1 billion shares. Equals 0.2 ounces of gold per share. I'm just checking my arithmetic. 200 million divided by 1 billion. 0.2 ounces of gold per share. So for every 5 shares, you have 1 ounce of gold recoverable over time. And it's not proven yet. That's the point of the pilot plant and drilling down. But there's every reason to believe that the upside here is beyond anything almost imaginable, except it happened at the Carlin trend. It's the same thing. So for every 5 shares, you get 1 ounce of gold. All right, so what does that mean? Well, 1 ounce of gold right now is trading for $2,700, $2,600, $2,700. The indicated cost per ton, cost per ounce of this process, the industry average ranges around $1,200 an ounce, maybe as low as $1,000, maybe as low as $800. This process, the number, I can't tell you the numbers, but the estimate of the cost per ounce is well below that low end of that range I just gave you. Well below. So let's take the 2,700 and say it costs $700 an ounce. That means for every 5 shares, there's $2,000 of profit recoverable for every 5 shares. $2,000 divided by 5, that's $400 a share. You paid 0.04. Now that is the massive, everything goes right, glorious upside. $400 a share. But you've got investors that have to produce it. You have to probably raise money. So do you do it with debt financing? Hopefully. You've got a proven process. It takes time. We want it now. Look, XRP's gone up from 50 cents to $3. Bitcoin's gone from 70,000 to 100,000. My money's tied up. I want it now. I get it. I've lived it. I've lived it. I've lived it. I have, like I've admitted before, I believe I have something like 350,000, 340, 360, maybe 400. I have a lot of money that I've invested in this company over time. I hate to look too closely because it might even be more than that. So I know the waiting and the time and missing opportunities. I know all about it. On the other hand, whatever happened over the eons to the rock and to the gold, and as water concentrated the gold, it was not changed by the last 10 years of trial and error. And the conviction is we've got it, because it doesn't depend on the charges. It doesn't depend on gravity. That's about all I can say about the process. I am highly confident in the process. And so you've got a stock that you paid 4 cents for. And I'm just going to go through the numbers that I calculated, that I remember. If the company were sold just based on the 0.04 recovery to Gold Strike, I think that's $1 a share. Pay 4 cents. If the company were just sold on just the 2 zones down to 200 feet, and you did it at a $50 to $100 an ounce, it's about $4 a share. You paid 4 cents. If the company drills downward with the use of proceeds and inward, and it proves this up, I just showed you this massive upside number, but let's say it JVs or it sells with an override, I think the number's $40 a share. And actually it's probably more like $80 to $100 to $120 to $140 a share. If you use instead of using that $2,000 profit at these prices, you just used something like a $50 or $100 or $150 an ounce. You could go to $400, $500 an ounce, but just those low numbers as a sale price. So 4 cents can turn into, maybe in the disappointing, into $1 or so, but it can turn into $4, $40, or some number between $40 and $400 over time. Let's just go with $40. That's 1,000 times the cost of the investment. It's 1,000x. Unless you want me to put forth your ideas of Bitcoin or XRP with enthusiasm to my friend, and I will, I can tell him that that's what you're recommending. personally, I'm going to continue my belief that this is one of the best investment opportunities I've ever seen. People are impatient because it doesn't move. Bitcoin's moving. People are impatient because gold has done okay, but Bitcoin and XRP are moving. People are impatient because Nvidia is going. Obviously, gold's worthless and gold miners are worthless. To me, that's what makes this investment so valuable. Because people aren't thinking with their right mind. That's why. Now, I'm not comparing this investment to WHDI, which could be a collection of crap companies. I don't know. One of them was AI intelligence to help with drive-through menus. How valuable is that? I have no idea. But at least they were projecting that was worth $5 a share, and we got 2 shares. I don't know the status. But that's a completely different investment, completely different CEO, completely different story, has no relation to this. The other one, I forget right now. Oh, God, my brain. Oh, Collective Audience. That was a de-SPAC that was destroyed by Aubrey Advisors and Chadron Financial. And it's technology, it's sales, it's AI, and it's putting teams together and having growth in revenues. Completely different than gold. Completely different. Now, having said that, I think Peter Boards, he didn't put the deal together with Aubrey Advisors, but I think he's working hard. I think his blind spot is he thinks the people at Aubrey Advisors are good people. They may be, but it's their ineptitude or worse that destroyed that stock. They left the company with no money when it de-SPACed so they could pay their lawyers and pay themselves or other financial people. That has nothing to do with this company. Now, having said that, I think both of those companies should wait before they take the restriction off their shares, because otherwise they're going to be sold to oblivion. It doesn't make any sense. I know it's waiting. It's a pain. It's horrible waiting while everything else is moving. It's horrible. I know. But now then comes a completely unrelated story that's taking too long. It's taking too long. It's my fault. I have not been able to get the money in that I assured the company they would have. I didn't give a specific time, but I haven't been able to get it in. I think it's taken 3 or 4 months. It's coming. But it's not there yet. Is it possible that I'm going to tell my guy that Bitcoin might be a better investment, or XRP or something else. I'll run down the other ideas that might be out there that are moving and are visible and people are excited about. And that's where you should be putting your money, because the markets are full of enthusiasm. Trump got elected, crypto's going, Elon Musk is there, the Haktua girl just made a fortune. We've got to get there. Let's go, let's go. It's where the excitement is. Or you invest on the potential for profit versus risk. Or you invest in areas nobody else is even looking yet. And I try every time I present an idea, I try to talk about gold and oil and hard assets, because I'm trying to force you to realize that dollars are worthless. All this crap that's trading, it's going to go higher, but it'll become essentially worthless. The only thing that's going to stand is gold and silver, energy, water, food. That's the stuff that's going to stand. And yes, I will talk to him to see if he'll consider stepping away from the opportunity, frankly, to become a billionaire, so that he can put his money in Bitcoin or XRP or something else. I will try to convince him that the best place to put his money is in the latest fad, the latest thing that's on the front page of every worthless newspaper. It's on the tip of the tongues of everyone on Twitter, and everyone is buying XRP. So you got to get into it right now, because it is going to be the greatest cryptocurrency revolution. And I will try to get him to do that instead of investing in something as boring as gold. Gold, which has been measured, a resource which has been calculated, and gold which has, although nano, just like the Carlin thread, gold which has a process to recover. And gold's in a bull market, as I've talked about. But instead, I think I'll step away from my conviction that gold's in a bull market and that the miners are going to be in a bull market. And I will try to talk to him about chasing Bitcoin after Bitcoin's literally gone from $1 to 100,000. That's probably the best thing to get into. And you know, you have no particular advantages, my friend. You're just investing with everyone else in Bitcoin, but it's going to work. And XRP, I heard about it on Twitter. You better get into XRP because everybody's talking about it. It's good to be part of the crowd. Don't come over and do something that only you or 2 or 3 other people, actually more like 40 people, know about. It's not exciting, and you're going to have to wait. But at the core PS71, the responsibility is mine. I have not gotten that money in, and the fault is mine. It's not the company. It's not the metallurgists. It's not the scientists. It's not the desert itself. It's all on me. It's my fault. I have not been able to get the money in for at least 2.5 months to as much as 3.5 months. It's all my fault. It's no one else. So if you want to be frustrated with somebody, it's me. But the good news on that is it doesn't invalidate the theory, the methodology, and the ability of the company to go like Newmont did, from an unknown company to a household name. But it is my fault. It's not the company's fault. It's not the scientists. It's not the board or the gentleman running it. It's my fault. I think that money will come in this week, but I don't know for sure. I don't think he has any plans to put it anywhere else, but I will explore it with him just to make sure that it might be better. And I'll tell him that you recommend it, that you thought of it, not that you're recommending it, but that you pointed out maybe Bitcoin, XRP, or something else. I'll do that. Has Ham ever seen a stock with a short position? Mike, the shorts are in control of finger motion. The only thing that's going to scare them is when they start losing money. You're in tax loss season? I don't know. I don't. I guess you're asking Ham. I don't know what Ham has seen, but we all saw what happened in some stocks. And you can look at AMC and GME. You can look at HKD. Well, that might be a bad example, but you can look at some of the stocks that did have short squeezes, like Volkswagen. Years nothing happens, then it happens all night. Guys, if you want to go where the action is, go where the action is. XRP. I've given you a couple of names. I think RLAIF. You can go there. I think you'll get action in that relatively soon. I think there'll be a debate that it's probably better to hold it for a year because something might happen that's exciting within that year. That's from public information what they're doing. I presented it the other night. I'll try to present it again. The stock I'm not talking about, the chart looks bloody fantastic. You could move to that and probably get huge excitement so you don't have to wait. All right, I'm excited by that. You're talking about my eyesight. I can't wait. I'm petrified. I have to go in for some immersion test. I agree with Justin. I think Finger is a $2, $3, $4, $5 stock with some news. And then if it does grow in one of these 2 or 3 areas on its own, it can be worth a lot of money without a squeeze. The shorts the shorts have no incentive to cover. There's no margin call. There's no enforcement. And they're moving the stock. You're seeing it. They're moving the stock from one LLC to another. They get the real short to help them out. You need a shock to the system. This is my opinion. Like a new contract that's defined, like positive earnings. But I have to answer the same question over. I'm not sure it's worth the wait, even though I just told the other gentleman I think it is. I think the gold company's worth the wait. But I don't think you understand what's going on, and maybe it's more urgent to get some action. I think what Ham's suggesting to you is that he follows this. He's watched it. He's seen the trades. At some point, the fundamentals will cause, this is my view, will cause the stock price potentially to go up. When that translates to pain in carrying, because every naked short position has to be paid for, you could get the buying then. But, for you not to understand that in every microcap stock that has taken financing, even if they bought it back, that the selling continues unabated. It happens everywhere. Somehow I'm not getting the magnitude of the problem across to you. It's trillions of dollars in one exchange for 1 year in Europe. Trillions with a T. Is the reason the short can't cover because the only people selling are washing shorts. No one long is offering to sell. I suppose that's a way to look at it. The washing, as you put it, the spoofing and the swapping of shares, those shares don't exist. They're not settling them. They're just moving a failed to deliver to another account. Those aren't real shares. There's nothing really for sale. And so your question is, why don't they just sell them everything they want to buy? Because they would be moving that short position over to another account that they're also responsible for. It doesn't solve the problem. They want you to sell, but you haven't sold yet, which I agree with. I don't think you should. No, longs aren't selling. Now, there's a guy that used to work on the Amex that says that it's the private placements, longs are selling, they're delivering stock from offshore. I see no evidence of that, or it's very small. The other thing he says is illegally, they day trade, they sell it down, and then so the FINRA reports those sales, but doesn't report what's being bought back in. And I suppose there's an argument there. But I think if they were buying it all back, the stock would be going up. So the stock I don't want to talk about. It's a fundamental play. It's a fundamental play, which I think has the potential to squeeze based on the chart. Well, I'll just show it to you. What the hell? I said I don't want to talk about it, but I might as well talk about it. I've talked about it so much. There's the chart for recruiter.com. Do you see up here? They took a toxic financing, and look what happened to recruiter.com. Do you think that was just real shares sold or short selling? It's up to you. I think it was short selling. Counterfeit shares in massive volume. Massive volume. Down here, they announced the reverse merger, reverse split, changed the name, all that, but then they changed the plans. And the plan is to become this company, which I was asked not to talk about, but anyway, and this is the support. Now, at the 450 range, you're out of that support. So I think there's always risk that it comes down into support. No stock goes straight up. But that's the numbers that I see possible. I don't know if you call that a squeeze or not. That's $5, $10, $12, $20, $25, $40, $60, $80, and then at the very top, it looks like 170. Is that a squeeze? I don't know. But I think it's a fundamental play, which has been published in the news stories, which you can read about. Is it true prime brokers are enabling this? Yes, they are. Are they complicit? Define complicit. Define complicit. The purpose of the toxic convertible notes and the lawyers is so the prime broker can check the box, even though it's illegal, that as he or she receives sell orders that are not delivered, they can put in their box that the shares will be delivered 6 months, 8 months, 9 months down the road. And then that's expanded upon over and over and over again, hypothecated, rehypothecated, and ginormously distorted. But it's all predicated on they can show the prime broker, and the prime broker can nod and wink. Oh, well, you're going to get the stock. Okay, we'll do it. But the complicity is that's not enough shares. It's also 6 months out, which is illegal. But anyway, you know what? I don't think you guys, I'm not sure we should be trading for short squeezes because it's so hard. It's like learning another language. I can't learn French. I try to study the issue between what's called the theory of general relativity, and then is it called quantum physics? Anyway, there's two different schools of thought. They have the string theory trying to get them together. And anyway, I try to listen and understand. I love it, but it's very hard because I don't have the vocabulary. And it's so hard to give you the concepts that I learned over 40, 50 years. I'm not being successful with it. Let's see where that's trading. I don't know. I guess I'm not going to be able to go. Just not going to be able to go to I can't do it. Just can't do it. Just can't do it. All right. I guess I won't race to do what I have to do. I'll just stay on as long as to explain all these things. The volume in RLAIF, by the way, is 1 million shares. I take that as a very good sign. The other one, it's not there, and you can look at it yourself, but it's so unfair what happened to MMTLP. We were entitled to a stock price run without him. No, we're not. No, you're not. We should be compensated for the potential. No, you're not. Short squeezes are not something you have a right to. They're not. Now, the imbalance that occurred with what was called at the time MMTLP was the result of decade-long counterfeiting of shares for Torchlight, then MMAT, and getting trapped in MMTLP, which was not meant to trade, and they got it trading, and then they shorted that. This is an attack on a scale that these simple questions show that you guys don't understand. This is done on an industrial scale. And once those toxic convertible notes are created, they take it and run with it. It's not enforced. They control their own destiny. There's no natural buying. None. No natural buying. And the company needs capital because young companies need capital. What company goes out there fully funded? Do you think Zuckerberg funded his own idea? Anyway, you were not. It wasn't unfair. It was a lie. Maybe lies are unfair. It was collusion and it was fraud, and maybe that's unfair. But when you're investing in a stock and your whole premise is, I want to see if there's going to be a short squeeze, and it doesn't happen, you haven't, nothing's been stolen from you. Nothing's been stolen. And if, Hans, if you want to remain focused on MMTLP, please be, and please talk about how unfair it was, and remain focused on that, because that gives you a lot of positive feedback psychologically. It's a great thing. It's 2 years ago, and it was unfair, and we were taken advantage of, and all of that. But they don't owe you a short squeeze. They do not owe that to you. What they owe you is 1 share of NextBridge for every share of MMTLP you want. And there is going to be no compensation based on a short squeeze. 0. That's not going to happen. Unless fraud is proven, and there were trades at 2,400 and 24,000, and they can prove that, but you're not going to pay for that lawsuit. And you have to be compensated for potential growth. Move your shares. You can experience growth, potential growth in NextBridge. Will we get justice? No. The justice you're going to get is when NextBridge performs. But if you don't move your shares and help the CEO out, he's got a tough task. But will we get justice? I don't think so. Will a lawsuit work? Possibly, but it'll be a class action lawsuit. You'll get a card in the mail, and you get a piece of it. I don't think Congress is going to do anything. Ham is calling me. What are the call letters on the? It is a private company, although one person there says it's public. It does not trade. I'm not going to give you the call letters until it's funded, and then I will. Call him. About hearsay. Ham is going to have you deported if you don't call him. Do you think we could go back to being backed by gold? What, our currency? No, I don't think we'll ever have a gold standard, but I do think we'll have some sort of loose collar around gold. I think we don't have much say in it. We've had our dollar's been supported by a rough backing of oil, but look what we've done. We're supporting a criminal, Netanyahu. We're kicking Iran and Russia out of the SWIFT system. We're attacking everybody in the world. We don't keep our word, and our weapons are not as effective as Russian ones. So all you need is for the new king, when he's the crown prince, MBS, to say, you know what, we're going to price oil in rubles. We'll price oil in gold. And all of a sudden, the dollar doesn't have the support of oil, and the recycling of petrodollars becomes petro-rubles. But that's a choice we've gone down, because I don't know why. I guess it's just, I don't know why we've done it. He would love to get the dollar back. That'll never happen, because just like Bitcoin will never be currency. You've got to have the ability to expand the currency, and Am I being too harsh on this digital money? Am I being too harsh? No, I love it. It's great. It's the best thing. XRP's great. Haktua Girls is great. They're all great. I've never seen in all of my existence something created that is a greater guarantor of wealth than each and every cryptocurrency that's invented. And crypto is just amazing. I mean, once they put it in ETFs, I think you're going to be safe. And once they create derivatives against it, my gosh, I think you're going to be safe. And if and when the market crashes, people will probably hold on to their crypto. They won't sell that. No, I'm convinced, Augustin, that crypto is the most amazing thing. Yes, I would love to have bought Bitcoin back under $1, but I wouldn't have confused a bull market with being smart. I just would have been luck. Gold companies are simple, and I'll go through it in another call. I've gone through them. There's only two you should buy at first: Barrick and Newmont. Barrick Gold and Newmont. And then you can look at Nico. You can look at I can't pronounce it. My brain isn't working. Alamis Gold. You can look at some of the smaller ones, but for now, the main two gold companies to buy are those two. But I would say there's at least a dozen gold companies which you can invest in that are pretty much common names. The tier one stocks will go first. That's where the institutional money will run. The secondary and tertiary stocks will slowly catch up, and then it'll be quick when the mania starts. Do you think Ham will give up KG a dirty dog to keep the heat off of them? They're not going to rat on each other. The big guys, Ken Griffin and the guy that owns Virtue, they won't rat on each other. I had an errand to do, and I can't do it. So I'm just supposed to meet. I just can't do it. All right, guys. I'm not going to go do what I needed to do. I'm just going to get Ham on so Ham can tell you.
Battery 100%. Connected to Bill's iPhone.
William,
You're live.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live. Everybody can hear you.
I got the greatest story for everybody here.
Okay.
Someone we know owned a big position in the stock, and they believed in it for a long time, maybe 6-7 months. I think they even had the scoop on it, and they gave up on it last week. And the symbol's HSY. And today it's up, I think, $25 or $30. The company's name is Hershey, the chocolate maker. And William, you said it best. Warren Buffett said it best. The stock market is money going from the inpatient to the patient. That's what the line was, right, William? Is that it?
Yeah, I made that up.
That's true.
I didn't make it up. That's Warren Buffett.
That's Warren Buffett's line, right? So this gentleman, which, people know, he believed in it. I think he had the scoop on it, and it didn't happen in the time frame. He sold it, and it's up 30 today. And that just shows you that, stock market is, when you wait for something, it's tough. We got it. That's what the shorts hope that you give up on things. And this guy gave up on it, and look what happened. His life-changing trade just went away, up 30 points.
Well, that's Jimmy Rogers points out that people don't want to wait. They want to move where the action is. They don't want to be in gold and silver, for example, because everybody's making money in the video. And that's just human nature. The hardest thing about investing is to fight human nature, your own. And then, of course, you're delaying gratification. And then, of course, you start questioning whether you're sane. There were several questions on the shorts. Why don't the shorts cover finger down here? Or are we missing something? Why don't the shorts let it go up a little bit and cover? Will they, in fact, cover? Are the broker dealers complicit? Are the broker, the whole things that we've talked about all along. And it makes me believe no one really understands what's going on, but maybe you can tell them.
Well, number one, the shorts thought they were going to wipe this company out off the face of the earth. And it's taken so long that it's now completely flip-flopped, and the company is very powerful now. That's what I see. And now the shorts are trapped. And the regulatory environment, which they thought they controlled forever, is now flip-flopping. And now we don't have the head of the SEC against us. We have the President of the United States, the Attorney General, the FBI, Devin Nunes, who was the former head of the Intel Committee. And I don't know about this guy Atkins. I don't know much about it yet. Pat Burr told me he believes he's a good guy. So everything is flip-flopped on the short sellers now. And the trade before was to the short side. Now the trade is to the long side. So that is even flip-flopped. And they're saying, why don't they cover here? Because they can't. Once it goes through 225, this stock is going to explode. Listen, if you want to, I don't want to make you go do something crazy, but it's not easy to commit suicide. Put a gun in your mouth and blow your brains out. That's what we're asking Jeff Easton to do. And he's sitting here wishing and hoping that the company does something to fall apart or whatever, but it's not happening. And now what do you do? Listen, everyone, DJT has the President of the United States behind it. How come it hasn't squeezed? You don't need to make about finger motion. DJT is an example. They can't cover. It's going to put people, they're going to lose billions of dollars. They're hoping and praying that people sell the stock. That's all it is. And I just gave you an example. My friend had the stock, he had the call and whatever, and he fucked it up. Whatever it was, he gave up for whatever reason. I've done it many times to give up. But then they go. That's how it works. And that's the reason I tried to call William up to tell him that.
Well, people missed their chance to play in it because it took half an hour to get back to you.
What do you mean? To play
I don't know the urgency of that story, but it's a good story.
Well, I just want to tell you that someone close to us that been fucked up big time.
Well, then that's the problem. I mean, that's the tension. If you can see stories over and over again in history where the guy that waits makes the money. On the other hand, you see quick, lucky people that make a quick hit. I don't know what to say.
Listen. I was in the fast money game. If I was around, I probably would have had Hershey. and I would have sold it because it took too long. And that's what happened to my friend. Because we were trained differently. You know? So, anyway, I just wanted to tell you a story that professional traders fuck up. They gave up too soon. They got out of it for the wrong reason, and now look what happened. And that's what happened. So he gave up a couple $1 million payday today because and now he's miserable, can't stand himself, and whatever else he's cursing about. And that's what happens. That's Wall Street. So I just want to tell you that's what happens. It's when you least expect it, that's when it happens, right? And that's what happens.
The only way you can benefit, the problem is all of us, including me, we don't have the money we could just set aside and wait. So we get anxious.
That's not, William, this is how it works. I would have bought the options that expired last week, right?
Yeah.
The options just expired. How was that to have options expire on Friday? Today it goes up $30. Right?
Yeah.
Do you think that didn't happen to me? It's happened to all of us.
Oh, I've been on both sides where the options are the worst. You can be right on the story and lose everything just because the timing runs out.
Well, I just wanted to give you a story on a different level, not a short squeeze, nothing else like that. But this is a story of a guy who I believe has a scoop on it, and he screwed up the whole trade. Nothing more you can say. It's how it is. You know, and I keep, people keep asking me about this the XRP thing. I just don't understand enough about it. That why isn't this thing going crazy? I don't understand it. You know, it's a great question. People ask me all the time. And one other thing is that your stock, William, that NIXX,
Yeah.
announcing they're going to raise money. It's up, almost up to 475 now. What happened that now raising money is a positive thing, right? That's telling you the shorts are in trouble. That used to be.
That's a good observation. That's a good observation.
That used to be great news for the shorts. They're raising money, kill it. Now it's going up.
That's a good observation. Yeah.
Now it's going up. Are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Something's going on. So anyway, I just wanted to touch base with you before I run about my day, but I just want to give you, it's a horror story for people that were long or options expired, but it just shows you that some person we know gave up on the story because it took too long. And, it was a great trade. This is a big board trade. This isn't a small cap guy. And look what happened to him.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just want to let you know, everybody makes mistakes. That's how it goes. All right?
Okay.
All right, have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Look, I was trying to race through because I had an appointment. I just didn't get it done. I can't go past 4 o'clock. It looks like RLAIF is pulled back a little bit. It's okay, 1.2 million shares. Collective audience is 45 cents, but the bid is so low. I really don't think he should take the restriction off those shares, but I will ask him what his strategy is because he should let us know. DJT's up 70 cents. I can't read what T-Low's down 68 cents. That's manipulation, it seems to me. Logic is reasonably green. I mean, it's not a huge move, but I wonder if something's going on. And then Finger is up a penny at 197. And Ham's right. I mean, if you look at short squeezes, if that's what you're waiting for, they take about 2 weeks. Look at XRP. How long did you have to wait with XRP? I don't know. It's a lot of waiting. 114 million float. Today has traded let me look at that. So it's RIME is 11.119. The volume is 268 million. The high in the day is 0.1378. And it's called Algorithm Holdings. I bet anything that was a stock, RIME, that was a stock destroyed by shorts. They go out 5 years. I don't know, JC. I don't know you. But look at that chart on Rhyme. Why would you show that to anybody? You must be one of the shorts. They destroyed that. And so this back and forth trading is just, I don't know. When I say that, it was maybe $15 and now it's 13 cents. It's not insane, and it's broken down. This is you and your friends destroying this company, and you're doing it with computers. I wouldn't touch that. I appreciate you brought it up, but I wouldn't touch it. All right, I'm gonna sign off. I don't know if I was helpful at all today. I wish everyone the best. Pray for peace in the world, particularly for children. And any little girl or little boy caught anywhere in the world who cannot find their parents, let's pray for them. We'll catch you on the flip side.